go ahead and get started. We're all here today as the city's going to be working on their next fiscal year budget, which we have to have done and approved, and which starts July 1st. So thank you all for coming. We're going to try to get through you guys as fast and as we can. So we'll go ahead and get started with the chamber. Come on up. If you can just make sure you state who's all here with your group, that would be great.
Page 9. We're on page 9. And then they have a request in this.
Ooh, cute. Yeah, he did.
I'm Henry Nessel, President of the Chamber of Commerce.
And I'm Melissa Hammond. I'm a director trustee on the chamber board.
Welcome.
Well, I submitted a letter to you all and asking for you to continue your partner donation of $10,000 for the upcoming fiscal year. You are greatly helping the community services we do within the city of Newcastle. And also we're looking and have started collecting resumes for a part-time executive director position so we can get a paid staffer back in that building and get the building open, especially this summer. So we're moving on this as best we can. Now I breath again. Sorry, I've had some medical issues and I'm running out of breath very quickly. So.
Well, we got the ambulance right behind you.
Got my phone out.
So now just take your time.
So at this point, I guess I'll open up to questions.
Does anybody have questions for the chamber? How's your membership going?
Membership has been stable. That's why I believe we're able to go ahead and hire the part-time position, because that stable membership along with your partner donation, the partner donation from the commissioners, has allowed our funding to be stable. So I was able to see in the budget that we should be able to afford this.
Are you going to be doing any like membership drive type thing?
Hope to be, but I'm also going to get that employee in because they can be there during the daytime to help. I've got a business that I'm trying to operate, and she's an employee of another company here in town, so it's difficult for us during the business day to get out.
Okay.
That's why we need that employee.
And that is something that is definitely that we're working with doing, is getting to the businesses. With the onset of our new website, we have been able to accrue new members because we do have the added benefit of being able to join and pay your membership fees right online. So that's been a great benefit for us.
And also with the website, we'll be able to advertise more of the businesses here in town and hopefully be able to go outside of town with money from the travel commission so that we can advertise to try to bring additional people in town as they're passing through.
Councilman Steves, any other question?
Yeah, just kind of going through some of your budget line items you had in there for 24, for fiscal year 24 estimates, right? And then what you have in your main header, second paragraph down, looking into fulfill a request for $15,000 for the fireworks, fire department. And then in your spreadsheet, I see in the line item for projects, for special projects for $14,024 display, is that, I guess, part of that 15,000 piece of this, and kind of going into the 15,000 piece of this, because in that piece is almost $1,000 for a high school senior, which equals out that 1,000 picture of that.
The $1,000 from the high school senior will come directly from our budget. The $15,000, any funding raised from that goes directly into the fireworks fund. It doesn't even pass through our accounts. And so I put the dollar figure in there just to show that that is a goal, but it is not part of us. We send it directly to the fireworks fund.
Yeah. And I know in the past, sometimes have done a one-time pay, I guess, for fireworks, to pay for fireworks, and was trying to get the funding through the community to help support it. You know, this year I think it's gonna be pretty tough to maybe look at fireworks with the drought. You know, and everybody I see in their letters is all due to inflation, that they want to increase budgets, you know. You also gotta look at that at the other side, inflation's hitting us pretty hard. And how we gotta reconsider, you know, those requests on this might not be, something that is it a want or a need type deal.
The line item for the high school seniors, the scholarship that we give out
Yeah.
each year.
When did you guys raise that amount?
The 15,000 for the fireworks. Last year, the fireworks display was right at 10,000, 9,500 or something like that. The 15,000 was basically to have a little bit extra in there. We ended up raising between everything last year, we ended up about 14,000. So we've got a little bit of
Cushion.
seed money in there, I guess, for fireworks. But
Yeah, and I guess I kind of look at the fireworks piece of it, you know, and I'm looking at 15,000, it's kind of small numbers for when we're trying to look for projects, you know, completing road repairs. You know, and we're trying to get the community to step up and do these things that's for them. But then they say, well, it's tax money that's going to these, you know, trying to pull this type of money out of budget money.
So they're asking for 10.
You know, I look at this as should be a community funded type deal.
I don't
Because
think that he needs.
in my mind, we
I
have
don't think we're funding that.
things for the,
Fireworks.
in the city that needs priority over fireworks.
Well, Donnie, I think what they're saying is all the money for the fireworks is collected
Right.
donations. So it's not, they
It
just,
doesn't come out of,
Yeah.
we don't
Right,
check
that's
from
how I
the
read
chamber
it
to the
too.
fireworks. We ask for community donations,
Yeah.
it's literally
Yeah.
passed through, like, write a separate deposit, so when it goes straight into the fireworks
You're-
fund, so it doesn't show.
So your request is,
Our ask is 10, which is the same as last year. We
Right.
kept our budget flat.
Yeah.
So you're talking inflation, yes, inflation's hit us as hard as everybody else, but we're capable, I look at the
they're
budget,
looking at hiring.
keeping it flat, so that we do not have more.
So am I reading this wrong when I say, when it's reading in there, please consider a one-time donation to the fireworks fund?
That's a separate donation if you all would be considering that through the fireworks fund. It would not go through the chamber, it's not part of this budget.
Okay.
I did have something from last year. We had a bit of a kerfuffle with the chamber when you guys restructured, and I just want to bring up my concern that I had last year. When you're hiring this part-time director, if they could keep track of their hours and let us know how the subsidy is being spent, so some kind of documentation as to their activities, that would be helpful for when you guys come back year after year
That's,
of showing us.
and that's something that's gonna be required of our part-time executive directors, that we have the computerized log of what they're doing and what time, what hours they're working. So that is something that's gonna be required.
Yeah, I really offended the last board when I asked for that. Like, I mean,
You don't offend me because it's your money and you need to know what's going on.
well, it's not mine.
But I mean, it's our money as a city council and as a city.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
anybody else have any questions? Okay. What do you have, in your near future plan?
The near future plan is get this employee interviewed and hired.
Okay,
Charlotte from the hospital is on the board, and she's an HR specialist, and so that has been placed in her hands to make sure we have the proper documentation and handbook and everything that we need.
okay, and has, how many are on your board?
At the
Here.
moment, that's six,
It's on the
and
back
Oh,
of
is
this
it on the
thing.
back?
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't see
There
that.
should be separate documentation.
It's on the back.
Back of the first page.
Oh, okay. Has,
Community-wise, we've discussed trying to bring some type of community picnic, where we members would help donate things like hot dogs and things like that, perhaps at one of the parks, so that there's something going on during the 4th of July prior to the fireworks to start getting the community a little bit more involved. It's also would be a great opportunity for us to begin collecting funds for the next year, for fireworks the next year, because that's something that we do need to work on, and we try to work on continually throughout the entire year. Then after that is the fair parade and the pig wrestling.
Melissa, have you thought about bringing back the 4th of July parade?
If y'all would like that, it's not that difficult to put on a
It's
parade.
definitely something we could do. I think it's absolutely,
I've had a few constituents approach me about a 4th of July parade. I just.
I think that would be nice, really nice.
Yeah, I love parades.
Out of all your board members, have they all taken that, training, the board's training?
I know I
the
have,
two of us have.
we had, one was scheduled for it, but she became ill and did not attend. Got her book, but
Okay, I know there's an online, so, and then if you could, make copies of everyone's certificate for us as well. Alright. Any questions?
Nope.
Oh, thank you guys very much.
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay, Mondale Field Airport.
Oh, there comes
Hello, and thanks. Don Cooksey on behalf of the airport board and the company of other board
They're on
members,
page
all
7.
parts of the airport, and our esteemed manager, Tuff Strieger. And I'm assuming you all have a copy of the letter. So, to sum it up, we're asking for the same money you gave us last year, with the exception of the airport manager wages, which I want to talk about in just a second. But as it turns out, the money you gave us last year was spot on to our needs. And that just filled everything, except we did run into a little problem with the hangar door. And which runs us over about $8,000. We didn't have to come to you all for that money, because Stuff figured out how to get it through from the government. CARES Act, COVID Relief Act kind of thing, it's called the CARES Act. And we got money out of that, which covered it, so we didn't have to talk to you about that.
COVID, hangar door, what the hell?
So if we can get the money that we got again last year, I think we'll be doing well. Tuff's wages. Last year we spoke for raise for Tuff, and he was not given that raise. I'm here today to ask once again, please, to justify that. Tuff has over 40 years of experience at this airport. He worked for the airport manager that served previously to him. He earns his money. He works cheap, he earns his money. There's a ball in the air right now. We're having a little trouble with the wind indicator. And the wind indicator mechanic would like to just replace the thing for $8,000. Tuff's telling the man, no, I don't think that's it. Let's rethink this thing real hard, because I believe the error is somewhere else on down the line besides the wind indicator itself. If we did not have that knowledge to draw on, we might well be buying an $8,000 wind indicator and then figuring out why the thing didn't work otherwise, if you follow. So the other thing that I said last year, and I want to repeat, is when something happens and Tuff can't or don't come to work every day, we're going to have to hire another airport manager. I don't think we can get one for $40,000 a year, and right now he's making $4,780.50 less than that, due to the way things turned out this time last year. I just don't think we're going to attract anybody for that. We're stating our case then, and it's going to be easier to make the step from $40,000 than it is from $35,000.
Is this position Tuff's full-time job?
It is, and
Cause he works for $40,000 a year.
well, he also maintains a business at the airport. But he considers himself on call or available 24/7 for that. And he takes care of the public very well. I can't remember a complaint about somebody flying in and they couldn't get fuel, they couldn't get taken care of. Don't remember a complaint about that.
I'm gonna kind of change it off of Tufts, salary. What's the average, flights that come in for, medical?
Well, we put that out I'm gonna ask Tuff if he's got a idea.
Yeah, it probably averages out probably 4 or 5 a month. It just depends, a lot of it depends on the weather. If the weather's inclement and the helicopter can't land at the hospital, then we have fixed wing come to the airport.
Well, I just know that, there was a lot of people that asked what our airport is used for, and I tried to tell them we also have medical flights that come in, so it's nice to get an average monthly, so people, not just the council, but our citizens of Newcastle are aware as well.
So that brings something up too, is when I have constituents talk to me about the airport, could you please summarize in your own words the benefit of having an airfield in Newcastle? How does it benefit the city council or the city?
Absolutely, I'll do that. If I might, please let me go back to the medical flight kit one time. The number of Tufts given you is the airplanes that land at the airport. There's a lot, more than that, there's helicopters that land at the Newcastle Hospital and probably go directly to the Rapid City Hospital or directly to the Casper Hospital. They don't show up on our account, however, they use the facilities at the airport as well. There's an automatic weather machine out there that tells what the weather is, they use that. They know that we have fuel available if they need it. So it actually adds on to that. But to address your question, the airport, the people that show up at the airport are bringing money to town. They've got serious business in mind. There's a few of us that are just have our own little airplanes and we play around, but that's not the meat of the matter. There was the business airplanes, of which I've seen several these weeks. These guys are in town doing something serious. The railroad brings their jets to town when they need to. The refinery as well. And these people are spending a lot of money to get here, and they got a lot of money on their mind, and it has the opportunity to drop some in Newcastle.
So when we're getting, I mean, I understand the whole like principle behind, yeah, if we get flights in, then they're gonna come in and spend money in town, right? But I just don't know how often we have flights come in that bring people that come into town and spend money. How often does that happen?
Quite often. When we send you our minutes, part of our minutes for our monthly meeting, as part of that is the number of movements we've had and whether they were business or pleasure or medical or whatever. I did not bring a yearly amount. We can get you one, but it is on the minutes that we share with you every month. It's on there. It's part of our business.
There's probably a copy sitting up here.
Well, I know you guys get a paper.
Yeah, Stacy gets us a copy as part of our packet, so we get your minutes. And then I didn't know that, I mean, that's pretty interesting idea that, I mean, the weather station and some of the data that you guys produce, you know, other entities use when they're traveling.
Let me share with you this with you, things I take for granted, but it's pretty much an all-weather airport. There is instrument approach procedures, so airplanes come in when the weather is not very good.
That's pretty handy too, so it runs year round.
Yeah, it's gotta be pretty terrible. A lot of times you get in and out of the airport when you can't use the highways.
So on your minutes from February, the single engine movements, that's year to date, or is that just the month?
That's for that month.
Okay. So there was 114
You see
Yeah.
that?
in February.
I'm looking to multi-engine.
Cool.
Well, appreciate it. Thank you for your answer.
You're welcome.
I just wanted to add to that, a few weeks ago, we were asking about kind of the use and how it benefits maybe Newcastle and what do we get from it, from our airport? A few weeks ago, I got a call from Tucker in Houston Aviation, and that was during the restructuring of our leadership here at our local refinery. You guys probably know that we've had a little bit of a restructure there. Those individuals had called and planned landing at Mondale Field and made arrangements to be here for a few days to take care of that restructuring, and that was just within the last few weeks. So that's something, multiple day stay and taking care of business for a large business here in town.
They were in the day before yesterday also.
Any other questions for Monica?
No, just really appreciate the clarification.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. All right, okay, we'll move on to Campbell County Health.
Hello, I'm Chris Phelps, the Director of Urgent Emergency Services for Campbell County Health.
I'm Shane Kirsch, the EMS Manager for Campbell County Health EMS and Wyoming Regional EMS.
You seen you guys in the terrible.
Got any more graduates from EMT class?
So this spring, unfortunately, I lost our course coordinator. He was unable to facilitate a class this spring. We are going to be holding an EMT class in the fall. We look forward to that. Upton EMS, I've been attending their town council meetings. They do have an EMT class offering. I believe they have anywhere between 11 and 14 people that have signed up for it. Generally, you see around half of the people that have signed up for a class make it all the way through the class, and then you usually see about 60% people that actually make it into the EMS workforce from them. So hopefully we will see an increase in the amount of EMTs that are available in Upton. I believe there's at least one of those individuals that was from the town of Newcastle, but I'm not certain.
Yeah, I saw that advertisement, so I thought that was good.
But yeah, our class had finished up, what, December, or January?
January.
That was the graduates we talked about previously, so.
Yeah.
I know you guys went and talked with the commissioners. I don't think it was a while back, because you and I talked about, the calls for service being so close in numbers for being outside of Newcastle and in the county. Have you spoke with them in regards to that?
Yeah, I actually had lunch with Commissioner Taylor and basically passed on to him your desire to potentially look at that. And so he's willing to work with the council and the commission to evaluate whether there's a need to split and their willingness to do that. But that was, I don't know, he just left.
Yeah,
he was
yeah.
there as well, Garrett. But
Yeah,
so that was about 3 weeks ago we had that conversation.
because I know they do their budget different than ours, their fiscal year, isn't it?
They
They start
should be the
theirs later?
same.
They start it later, I think.
Yeah.
The process and figuring it out might be different, but I
Yeah.
think it is the
It's
same
due the
time
same
period.
time.
Timeline should be the same.
Right.
Okay.
So I guess the encouragement would be, Madam Mayor, to maybe reach out to Commissioner Taylor to see, after tonight, where you guys are at and what proposals you may have for them to consider in their budget for overall total funding.
Yeah,
So,
because I think that would be obviously good for us, because
Sure.
it would take us down a little bit, but take them up a little bit since the calls are pretty equal.
Yeah.
And, until that class and there's people coverage in Upton, you guys respond to probably 99% of their calls. So,
As of right now, we're still overseeing 100% of the call volume. They might have a few people respond, but generally it's not an EMT that's responding. Sometimes it's just from the fire department, and they haven't been able to give you real good information on, you know, if it's a firefighter or if it's a first responder or if it's, you know, somebody that's actually got an EMT certification.
So with that, I believe in your packets, you have the letter that Mr. Kirsch sent out, requesting a 3.5% increase. To Mr. Stevenson's point, it is an inflationary increase we're asking for. And where that information comes from is the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. There are inflationary indices for both healthcare in general and then hospitals that we look at. Healthcare in general has experienced about a 7% inflationary index over last year. Hospitals are at 3%. And so as we looked at our budget and trying to determine what we needed for all of our areas that we serve, we've asked for a 3.5% increase to our services. So that would bring the city's total to $103,500 for this coming fiscal year.
Because if we can talk with the commissioners and see if we can get them up to 68,000 a year and us 68,000 a year, I think that would be definitely helpful for the city aspect of it.
Split it, yeah.
Because their calls for service are pretty
The numbers are showing.
Yeah.
It's in a whole year, and I'm doing this a little bit from memory, but it was a little over 100 calls a year more for the city than there were in the county, but that it wasn't a drastic difference.
No, it
So
wasn't. It's not that far apart. So,
It'd definitely be worth communicating with
Yeah.
the Board of the County Commissioners.
we'll definitely get an email to them and kind of work on seeing what their thoughts are, and then we'll revisit your line item on our budget.
Sure,
So.
yeah. And at that commissioners meeting we attended, we did inform them of the 3.5% increase. I think verbally, they said that seemed fair and reasonable. Certainly they haven't passed anything to formally adopt that amount, but so their amount is going up 3.5% as well if they approve it, so.
Perfect. All right.
I would like to share some bad news with the council, if you don't mind. I apologize.
No, we don't want, tonight's not the night.
We never started with the gavel.
So don't tar and feather me on the way up to town, but it only brings up as to airport received CARES Act for funding to replace an aircraft hangar door. Unfortunately, the EMS regionalization grant, which was based on COVID money, did not pass through the Wyoming legislature. So the $3.8 million that we were expecting and had to do fund letter for, unfortunately, we will not be receiving. So I really hope that you guys do take our 3.5% inflationary increase ask seriously. We do remain committed to providing services in Newcastle and Weston County. We will be offering EMT classes and trying to build up the workforce here in your community. It's probably going to take us a little longer than what we thought, though.
And have you worked something out with them, or with your officers? We talked about EMTs and no. Okay.
Haven't even discussed that yet.
Okay. Well, that's coming down.
Okay.
So,
We do remain committed to if you will, the situation in Upton and participating in any of those task force meetings that the Upton City Council and some of the other entities in Weston County are participating in. So we're actively involved in trying to help them either stabilize and or grow their service there. Whatever part we deem we can plan that along with them, we're willing to do whatever it takes. We do have what we call a mutual aid agreement. We have submitted that to Sundance EMS. Because at one of the first workshops, we realized that when you go north of Upton, Sundance is actually a closer EMS resource than we are coming all the way from Newcastle. And so as we look at our service area here, Sundance, Moorcroft, and Newcastle all probably have a piece in helping Upton out if they're going to continue to be able to respond and transport patients out of that area. So those mutual aid agreements out for consideration by those other agencies.
What was the commissioner's thought about the ambulance district?
The taxing district. From what I recall of the conversation, they were not really familiar with what the EMS taxing district was. I don't know if they've made any progress at all at approaching that from their standpoint. But I can follow up with Becky, the county clerk, and see if
Who could teach them?
it's a
They they were trying to teach them at that last workshop. So I thought you guys did a better job of explaining the benefit and how we could go about doing that. And I also remember I think she was a nurse from the Sundance Hospital that brought up the whole, hey, send some patients our way kind of thing.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, the taxing district is a fairly simple concept, if you will. The hardest part obviously would be getting constituents to approve an additional taxing district, that would increase the taxes that they pay. I don't think it was fair, but in the legislature, that comment was made of none of the communities in Wyoming have taken advantage of the EMS taxing district, so why would we support them with CARES Act funding if they're not even trying to solve the problem locally? I don't think that was a fair statement to be made, but it was made, and for lack of better words, I think used against us and the other entities across the state that had requested this COVID money. That was its comment that was made, and so
Well, with it being an election year, I think they need to see if it's something we need to do or look at splitting that cost with us, so.
fair enough, yeah.
Okay.
I do think the taxing district is a solution that should be considered. It obviously would, based on the assessed valuation of Weston County, would bring in, depending on the mills that were assessed, upwards of $400,000 to $450,000, which would, if it was us, would set us, up really nicely to not only operate the service we have, but continue to buy the capital equipment that we need to maintain and replace, which is a struggle, when we're just kind of breaking even or earning, I think $35,000 in profit last year. That would all help, and I think any other provider that you would look at, if you wanted to look at somebody other than us, that would be a consideration for them as well to, really be able to operate here on the lower volumes, is what other funding sources they have to take care of those large capital purchases that need to be made,
So where they've made, or it's been identified that there's shortfalls in EMS coverage around the state, it kind of feels to me like it would be important for our legislators to look at it a little bit harder and not say, oh, well, why should we fund this, since, nobody's asking or whatever. It's been identified that it's a problem, and we need to do something about it.
And in fact, we still have monthly governor's task force on EMS meetings, and we talk about this very thing. And it felt like this year, about any year, there was more support and more willing to fund EMS across the state of Wyoming than there had ever been before. And kind of felt like at the last minute through the legislature, the rug was pulled out from underneath us.
It's kind of frustrating.
The AG had some concerns, which I think were valid, on the federal funds and the spending and the criteria that were there, and whether everything submitted or not met what the feds intended it to. But I think out of all of the projects, our EMS project, you could easily tie it to COVID recovery versus an airplane hangar door. It's pretty easy to see how COVID impacted us in the recovery from it. So.
Okay. Any questions for? No? Well, I'll send an email out to the commissioners and see about what their thoughts are, or if we can all get together and have maybe a special meeting in regards to it.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, let us know when and where.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Well, sorry, we have one question.
Oh, yes, sir.
Actually, I've got a question.
Yeah, please do.
Obviously, thank you guys for, what you guys are doing and trying to put together what you're struggling, obviously for personnel. I always like to hear that piece of your they're trying to get personnel on board, and everywhere it's tough to try to get personnel. One question, on a comment that you had that you're covering 100% of Upton, and I see in the deal you're looking, for Newcastle and then Weston County. Is Upton any part of that funding piece at all?
So I believe Upton does receive some stipend or some form of compensation from Weston County. I don't know exactly what it is they receive though. I believe the town also has a subsidy for them, but I don't know the exact dollar amounts.
We did,
Same agreements, that it should be a district that we should really be working for.
Absolutely.
Because it's a county-wide, if we're trying to cover this in a county, Newcastle's paying $100,000, and the county's paying, $25,000. As the other one's not paying in pieces of that, but the two entities are trying to cover the whole county.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So, the district, I think, is the way we should be trying to push this.
Yeah, that feels like to me to be a more sustainable
Yeah.
option for EMS services in your guys' community. That's what I've been trying to speak on every single meeting that I've attended, is how do we find a sustainable solution for EMS services in these smaller communities. And I really feel that rather than general fund appropriations, that an EMS taxing district or rural healthcare district or whatever that looks like, we're also exploring some options with Weston County Health District. Hopefully that'll come to pass, but again, we're trying to make sure that we can stay here for a long time.
So are you guys receiving 15,000 from the county or more?
30 right now.
Okay.
And that was, if you recall, when we first started over here, it was 15, and then Osage did not renew their business license. So we approached the county to get Osage's 15,000, since we'd be covering that area. At that time, we knew Upton was struggling, but we said, essentially, please don't take Upton's money, because then that's just going to fall on us. Let's work with them to see if we can salvage their service or whatever. And so they did that. And so they gave us Osage's 15. They kept the funding from the county to Upton, which was, I believe, a 20,000. And so they still get that.
I'm just wondering what Upton's doing with the 20,000 if they're spending it, but that's, you guys wouldn't know.
So,
But I do agree, kind of to your point, it makes me a little nervous to be completely transparent when you have entities trying to fund based on call volumes, right? In my opinion, it should be, how do we fund the system? And I think traditionally in Weston County, you're doing what everyone else in Wyoming did, is every community is trying to prop up their own ambulance service, which has really gotten us into the boat that we're in. If we can all, for lack of better words, get rid of everyone popping up their own and say, how do we fund the system in one provider, and we all contribute to funding that system, I think is the better way to go.
So I came back and reported to the council about the workshop in October, or beginning of November.
Yeah.
October. Anyway, so when we were at the meeting, I remember the commissioners were there, and we were kind of running over like whether they thought that another taxable district was going to be favorable with the constituents in the county. But I remember I said something about like, why can't we put it on the ballot and see if people vote for it? So maybe that's something that we need to approach them about again, because there's a lot of people that say that they don't agree with, the ambulance service, or they don't, if you live here, you gotta realize that you're not gonna get coverage, and I've heard different things like that in the community. But it would be best to put it on the ballot and let the people in Weston County, make the decision if they wanted to pay more in. So I just didn't know what was involved with that process, but I think that we can
Who puts it on the ballot?
Well, that's the email that when I send to the commissioners, because
They do.
the county needs to put it on the
The
ballot.
county has
They do.
Yeah.
It's the county, yeah. And then if it passes, then the county can either represent the district themselves, or the county can appoint members to the district, or the the district board can be elected as well. So there's a few different options on how, once it's established, how it's governed. And that'd be another decision point for, folks to make.
And I honestly think that we have an elderly community here in Weston County that would be willing to have that peace of mind and just have to pay a little bit more in taxes.
I did also encourage Upton and the Weston County Commissioners to reach out to a third-party assessment company called Safe Tech Solutions. They do statewide or regional or countywide assessments of EMS needs, basically. And they were curious as to cost. It runs around $40,000 to perform the assessment for an area of this size. There is some grant money available. I did provide them with that information, but whether or not they've decided to act on it, I am yet to hear back.
The state EMS office got funds to help fund these assessments. There's a little bit of a contribution matched by the county or the city that wants to do the assessment, but the state EMS office actually picks up the majority of those costs. We did that in Campbell County back in 2015, and that really changed the way we operated our service, our staffing. I mean, it was an ugly look in the mirror because it pointed out a lot of things that weren't going well, we weren't doing well, but it's led us to this point where things are going really well and we're operating a really good service. So.
Well, I'll get in touch with them and maybe get a special meeting set up so we can all be in the same room and get this figured out. So.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Weston County Senior Center?
Unfortunately, Carolyn sent me down there with no information. She just asked me if I'd come down. But John's here. He's on our board. He can answer all kinds of questions.
Okay.
But I didn't see what she sent you. So I'll do my very best.
Page 7.
I will tell you that our board has taken the training. And you need copies of that, but I can just ask the other people.
Yeah, if you're the certificate.
Yeah, I told everybody to turn theirs into Carolyn, so I'll just have Carolyn take copies and look at those down. But we took that one day to put on.
Okay, thank you.
Do you want a copy of what Carolyn gave us? Just to glance at?
Might help me and John out. I don't know. Well, John has one.
Yes.
Doesn't look like they increased it, did it?
No, it's
No, I
staying
don't
the
think she
same.
asked for an increase. I didn't get that impression.
No,
It's staying,
even money.
the amount that it's at is something that the senior center does need from both the county and the city so when they go for grants and funding, they have a certain percentage coming from the local governments. So we just gotta keep that in mind when we're looking at their budget.
The what? What did you say?
So for all the grant writing that they send in, they have to show they're getting a certain amount from their local government to even be able to apply for those kind of
Be
grants.
eligible, okay.
So we just got to keep that in mind as we're looking at their budget.
Yeah, she said we're very thankful for that, the money that you give us, and it helps us out a lot. And I think this report shows you exactly what all we do, what we try to do. And we did discuss, I see on the second page, she talks about the meal prices, and I've been asked several times why we haven't increased it. Well, the board has discussed that, and right now we feel like we're okay with that. We're not going to say that we won't have to increase the meal prices, but we're trying not to do that. And we always take care of those that are unable to pay.
Yeah.
They still get paid.
I know, that's cool. What I haven't seen though is these yoga Zumba classes.
Well, there are some. You want to come up and go?
Yeah, when you get your new hip.
Yeah, I get one.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
we
think
do
it's
have-
wonderful that you didn't raise it and they want you 30,000. That's beautiful.
Probably isn't that we couldn't use it, but I think we're holding our own right now.
You guys have a pool there?
Pardon me?
There's a pool there?
No.
It used to be the grade school.
What are you looking at?
It says exercise pool.
Oh,
Oh, they do have exercise classes up there.
Right after.
We have exercise
They play
classes.
pool.
What?
have a pool.
They have a pool table.
Oh,
Oh, yeah, we do. We have pool
Pocket
tables.
I
billiards.
got it.
They don't have a pool, they play pool table. They have play pool.
Billiards.
Gotcha.
Well,
You
it's
used
kind
to
of
have
back
the
to
Well, it
what
was with yoga and.
Tyrell said. It's an older community and we use the senior citizen center now.
I think it's
It's a very important.
It
service
is.
to our
It
community,
is.
And it's kind of a hub for our community. I mean, it gets used for all kinds of different functions and purposes.
It could be used for.
It's very important.
And we try to make it available to everyone to use, and if we're able. I mean, you know, we try to work with everybody so they can have events there. And we have the health fairs and different things that we host.
So I had, I don't know if you or John can answer this question,
Sure.
but I had somebody who was looking to have a wedding reception, and they were told they couldn't because they have to make sure it's available for funerals.
It might have been already reserved.
I bet it was already reserved.
No, the date was opened. They just said I don't know if they were planning on somebody passing away,
Huh.
but, yeah, so I don't know if you want to check into that.
We will check into it.
Because I ended up giving them a phone number to the event center and they got it there.
I don't know about that, but I will check into that for sure.
Okay,
Because that wouldn't be a good
yeah.
reason unless they knew,
Because it was for the month of June.
unless they
so
knew
it's-
that
yeah.
something was coming up. and they
Somebody
said,
might die.
or something.
Okay,
But I'll find out.
okay.
John and I will.
I just don't want you guys to like lose business.
No, we don't want that kind of thing to happen.
Just doing a quick little review of numbers.
Mhm.
If you, not knowing how many of these, looks like you did 24,896 meals for 2023. That's a pretty good number coming out of that kitchen area.
Yeah, and you know, we
Based
provide
on-
the meals to the Upton Senior Center
Yeah.
and your jail.
And
And
if you
then
just
all
base that
those,
off of a $4 meal, you know, it doesn't count for how many of those might be the $6 meal. But that's $99,000 that you've been able to generate off of the
Yeah.
Some of that money's from grants and other things that pay for
people,
a percentage of the meal and we pay the rest of it.
But that's pretty good.
that's quite a few meals.
Yeah.
Our cook is really keeping track of the meals now.
How much help is in the kitchen?
Well, let's see, we have,
What was the question?
how many help in the kitchen?
I
Oh,
know you have at least
How much in the kitchen staff?
Right now, there's 2 and they're trying to hire another one.
Oh, God, yes.
well, yeah, because one lady had to quit because of her husband.
Oh,
So Madam Mayor, I remember the budget process last year, and I think that you were kind of behind calling them back to the carpet over a couple of $1,000s, and they ended up having to come back in again.
No, that was the
So-
chamber.
So now, the Weston County Health Services sent out another, like a letter reacting to the attempted like cut in their budget last year. So they were pretty upset about it too.
Are you talking about the health services or the
The
senior
senior
center?
The
center.
senior center.
Oh, you said
It was
the
the
health
senior
center.
center over like a couple grand. So,
I don't remember that.
Under the bridge.
Do you remember that? I don't either.
No, it's been
He's
30,000 for years.
Anyway.
so we called 4 entities back to the council on a separate occasion, over a few $1,000s apiece. So the thing is, and now you're putting emphasis on that they need this funding because of the grants that they put in for. But yes, the senior center is a very important entity in our community, and I don't think that they should ever have their budget cut. So, anyway.
Well, we appreciate your support, and certainly we'll find out about that one question and take care of that. And thank you all very much for what you do for us.
Norma, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Norma.
One thing, Tyrell, we're looking at $1 million for the other wing and get it all fixed up. If the city'd like to put something in for that too.
Now, the road's gonna cost $1 million. You wanna help us with that?
Make a motion.
Everything costs money.
That's a lot of money.
Okay,
I didn't have to see how to write it.
all right, Volunteers of America.
Good evening. My name is Alan Beverly, Vice President of Business Development with Volunteers of America.
My name is Blaine Hatfield, Director of Grants.
And I think you all have our letter, but just to kind of give you a brief summary, that our request is for $10,000. And it's just for general operations for our mental health center, the outpatient mental health center that we run here in Newcastle. There's a few stats there for you in the number of service hours that we've had over the past year and the number of clients that we've served. And we would stand for questions and see where you guys want to take it. You have anything to add before we get questions?
How's your new building coming out?
I knew that'd be the first question we get. It's going really, really well. We're expecting to be done in a little over a month and moving in June.
Yeah, I
So-
drove by there the other day and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
it's there.
We're looking at having an open house late summer, early fall, after we get everything moved and everybody's settled. So we'll be sure to invite all of you to that. So we're looking forward to it. And the staff, we were over visiting with them today in the current facility, and they're so excited to be moving into a new building. So they're really.
What are you gonna do with the old building?
It's up for sale. It's up for sale. You want to buy it?
Not a chance.
We have it currently listed. So it's up for sale.
Where's the new building located? Is that the one over next to the children's center?
Correct. 302 Stampede.
Yes, sir.
Yep. Exactly. So.
See, Chief, he's having an open house.
Let's talk about this open house, actually.
We'll have cookies and everything, I think.
Well, what's this in reference to how much we gave you last year?
I'm assuming that that's part of a report that we provided, that's either a semi-annual or an annual report that comes in to the council.
Yep.
I apologize, I'm not part of the operations team that runs the center. I oversee the business development side of things and the grant writing side of things. So the reporting that comes from the operations team, this is what I'm assuming they provide to give you an annual look back on what we've done in the past year.
I just didn't happen to have that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any questions for?
I don't have.
I just don't know a lot about your organization.
Well, where do I start? We cover a pretty broad area of the region. We actually have services throughout all of Wyoming, all of Montana, and western South Dakota. So we are an affiliate of Volunteers of America National. And so our core service areas are in the areas of substance abuse treatment and mental health, veteran services, and correctional services. We oversee the residential reentry center in Gillette. We have a substance abuse treatment facility for men and women in Sheridan and in Cheyenne. We also have veteran services that cover the entire state of Wyoming, the entire state of Montana. In addition to that, we have some other pieces where we have a youth home in Sheridan. We also have a youth home in Rollins that we oversee. We help with what we call SMI, severely mental ill, or patients that need transitional housing or permanent housing. And so we have a few facilities that host those individuals and provide all of the wraparound services. If we don't provide them, then we have partners we work within those communities that provide those services. So we like to say that we basically do the work nobody else wants to do and serve those that need us the most. So it's a constant, or it's a common theme in other states. Volunteers of America is an organization started by the son of the gentleman who started the Salvation Army back in the 1800s. It started in the northeast corner of our country. And almost every state in the country has an affiliate that now is trying to help provide services to those who need them. And ours just happened to focus on those core service areas.
Yeah, Sean,
I'm sorry?
is it Sean?
Sean.
That, the VOA at the building now? Sean?
Here in town?
Mhm.
That name doesn't ring a bell. I'm sorry, I'm not.
There's a
That's
little
okay.
building out on the four-way stop, and it has the veteran people work out of that building.
Oh,
That's
Not-
veterans
not-
affairs.
not-
oh, yeah, I think that's VA,
I'm
yeah.
talking about the VOA. I thought her name
yeah.
was Sean.
Yeah,
So I apologize.
so no, I'm sorry, maybe
That's
that
okay.
doesn't ring a bell.
I was just wondering.
But,
Are you
Sounds
guys,
like a fantastic organization.
thank you.
are you fully staffed?
I believe we are one clinician short. We have, I think, 5 staff, 2 support staff, a peer specialist, and then a couple of clinicians. And we are one clinician short at this point in time, but that's not uncommon across the state of Wyoming or in the country. Right now, it's hard to find clinicians to do this work. So we're close, but we feel like with the staff we have, we're doing a really good job. They're really stepping up, and they cover not only Weston County, but some of them also cover Sundance. So it's a regional hub, this center for people who need this service.
Yeah. And
So did you kind of buy out, or ever what the word is, for Northern Mental Health?
We actually merged with them back in
Okay.
September of '22.
Okay.
We merged with Northern Wyoming Mental Health and took over the services that they offer all
So
over the Northeast.
only you do more now?
sorry?
You do more than what they had done?
We do more than they do. Yeah, we merged with them. We took on their mental health outpatient offices, but we already had all those other services I
Right.
mentioned before.
Right.
And we merged with Peak Wellness out of Cheyenne. They had the southeastern corner of the state for the mental health outpatient services. And so we kind of cover the whole eastern half of the United States, the whole eastern half of Wyoming now. We do have some services in Riverton and, as I mentioned, in Rawlins, but otherwise we're covering the eastern half of the state, as well as Montana.
Yeah, well, I think it's a
as well as
pretty
Southern.
important thing. We've got a lot of mental health issues. I was on the board for Northern Mental Health at one time, so,
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's,
What happened to that building? Is that still in use?
The building that we're in currently?
No, the building that was mental health was in.
well, that's the
That's
building that they're in.
That's-
That's the one we have up for sale currently.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sir. And we're building the new facility. It should be ready to go the end of May, and we're going to probably
Okay.
move in June. Did you have something to add, Mike?
I don't know if this is relevant or not, but for what it's worth, we do offer services in Montana and South Dakota, as said, but our administrative offices are in Sheridan, so we're not far from here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty important.
Any,
Well, we appreciate your support that you've given us in the past, and look forward to working with you. And I can attest, after working for our hospital in Sheridan for a little while, what these gentlemen are doing here with EMS, they're fighting a massive uphill battle. I mean, it's a massive uphill battle, especially in our rural state. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't want to speak to having fun with other people, but that is an important thing in our state right now.
Yeah.
So
Especially these little rural towns
Exactly.
too, because we have nothing.
exactly. And when you look at what we do to partner with them to help with the clients that we work with sometimes,
Yeah.
it's invaluable. It's life-saving.
Yeah.
So we appreciate your support.
Any other questions for? Well, we thank you guys for your time.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank
Any
you.
idea, or do you, not being familiar with your process, what's your decision-making timeframe for the funding?
We have to have it approved by.
Yeah, once the budget's approved, usually the first or second week of May,
Perfect.
then I'll send letters out.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Weston County Health Services.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Council. This is Seth Parsons from In-Home Services Home Health. I also provided another supplement fact sheet that you guys should have hopefully gotten earlier this week to kind of highlight some of the data and stuff like that. Hopefully you guys had a chance to review over that. Instead of focusing on what my program does and how we do it, I wanted to present you more with some of the data from this last fiscal year. The aides of 5 to 6, depending on our staffing levels, called home health CNAs, provided over 2,282 aid visits for Weston County, traveling more than 23,778 miles, serving 44 participants on average. I logged 1,096 hours of case management hours for in-home services. That does not include administrative or other lifeline factors of the department that I also run from that. Breaking it down, I do break it down between what was served between Newcastle city limits, the county, and the city of Upton, because I think that's important to focus on as well. 58% of those serviced on my caseload were in Newcastle. 21% were in the county, another 21% were in Upton. I am also requesting funding from both the county commissioners and the city of Upton to share that load and burden. I also divide out our aides to cut down on the amount of miles traveled. We have aides in Upton that live in Upton that service that community. So other factors like that that we can do to help cut down on miles as well as costs are being implemented and done. Running some other figures right quick off the top. I'm asking for the same budget requested from last year, and that's only a 1% increase from 2 years ago. So I'm not even keeping up with inflation increases there. I have not increased any of the suggested contributions from those that we serve, and 73% are asked to pay less than $8 an hour for the aid services. So they're not even asked to pay a third of what the aides make in a regular wage, give or take what their level of that aid is at. The lowest being $3 per hour. I also included some interesting financial burden that I have noticed, as well as some testimonials on the back of that page for your viewing pleasure. Does the council have any questions that I can answer? Well, I greatly appreciate you guys' support. It is a valuable, invaluable service that we provide in order to keep people not only in their homes, but safely.
Invaluable.
I don't have any questions. Does anybody have questions?
So we just call your office if we need help?
Yeah. I completed an AGNES, which is an Aging Needs Assessment Summary. You have to be over the age of 18 and have a need. That comes up with 2 different scores that I will then use to determine who can have services or not. If your scores are really low, then I probably won't bring somebody on, because there's other people that have higher needs that need those services more. It's an objective standard that I use then to decide who to bring on and who I keep on versus who I can't. Because the goal is to focus on those that have the higher needs and need the higher level of care, to prevent them from going to the nursing home or assisted living or somewhere else for other regular arrangements. The goal is to keep them home and prosperous and happy as long as possible.
Very good. Short and sweet and hard to beat. I like that.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you, Sal.
And that's the last people in the room is the fire department. Come on up. I like that. They don't have anything in there.
Oh, they don't?
No, they are, no letter, no.
You guys gotta go
nothing.
home, we don't have anything in your paper.
Well, they're just part of our budget. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's start in page 4.
Thank you, Norma.
Thank you.
You are gonna ask for
Page 4. Is that in-home person, is he in the hospital? Is that where his office
I
is?
think
He was gonna ask
he's
me
at the
that.
hospital.
Did he?
Yeah. But I don't know where they have that building open.
I don't know where his office is either.
Who says?
Yeah.
It's, next to Decker's in Plaza.
It is.
Oh, it is? It's not in the hospital.
Right next to driving
Yeah.
Why do they have them there and not at the hospital?
I think it gives them more
Privacy.
privacy to getting in and out. They don't have to put up with the hospital. I don't know if the hospital has room for it.
They got a whole big basement. Anyway, okay, sorry.
Not me.
All right. So, fire department, if you guys look at your page 4, if you didn't see that, they start at the bottom.
And go through page 5 and 6 and...
And 7.
Here's what's upside down.
Well, then turn it the other way.
Around.
Pretty much I left the budget the same as it was last year. Well, not pretty much, I did keep the
Yeah,
budget
in
the
there,
same.
nothing different.
What about the workshop thing?
So what about fireworks if there's in a drought?
They'll just do
Well,
what they did a couple
Yeah, we'll
years
just kinda have to play it by ear.
Yeah.
Wet everything down and
ago. They
hold?
might do.
Yeah. If it's really dry, we won't shoot them all.
I just.
The other thought I had, and I haven't talked to them yet, is maybe see if the golf course would let us shoot them off. Because the way we did, when we changed
The sprinkler
the
system.
firing system last year, cleanup was a piece of cake. We didn't bury anything, everything was stayed on the ground. So I think the golf course would be all right with it. Or get green all the way around. I think it might be a viable option.
Traffic control might be tough.
Traffic control might be tough. I mean, it probably wouldn't be any tougher than where it is now.
That's true.
Figured we'd see what.
I think if it's a really dry year, we don't want you to be doing them.
Well,
I mean, that's how
Yeah.
I look at it. You're gonna be busy out doing your own work.
Don't listen to her.
Rain for 6 months.
Well, I'm saying if it's really dry, if we
Right.
don't get the rain,
And
I don't want you doing it.
it's just gonna have to depend on
That's
what
more than
what it looks
40
like come July.
Not up to you.
Play it by ear.
Oh, you want the whole town to burn up.
I didn't say that, but that's going overboard, isn't it? These guys have fire trucks. They're not gonna let the whole town burn
Didn't ask
down.
for any increases.
I did. I left everything the same.
Do you have any refunds?
Well, see anybody,
Do you have any refunds?
I don't see anybody on the council fighting you over any of the line items then. So thanks for coming.
Yeah.
Are you guys comfortable keeping your new truck and cap equipment at 50? Or did you want to change your budget around to add more into that?
I think we're all right with 50 for a little bit. We're still probably at least 5 years out on looking for a new truck. Yeah.
One thing, I guess, to kind of, I don't know how much the council looks into or knows of potential changes coming down from OSHA. If those changes go into effect, it's not only gonna affect me at work with my fire department there and first responders, it's gonna affect any fire department, first responders, with the way they wanna change the law, the rules and everything for firefighters. This budget number, is gonna get inflated a lot because of the requirements that's gonna have to come down.
Who's making all these requests?
OSHA.
Does they have money to fund it?
Well, it's
Those
just
bitches?
That, yeah,
the
that's,
thing that's gonna come down to is, how do we, as a council, is gonna have to either come up with some type of a support letter later down the road? Do we get in touch with legislators to try to help push back on what OSHA is trying to regulate? And what that's gonna do to, communities, not only, businesses, but volunteer services. Like James and I talked the other night when I've read through them the last couple of months. Haven't done it totally, but there's so much stuff in those bullet items. If they push this,
Like what,
volunteer
Dawn?
services might not be around.
yeah.
So we need to talk to our representatives to take it to legislation.
Need to have something to push back on the government, OSHA, trying to put these regulations in play.
When do they come into effect, you know?
It's in right now in the review process and comment stages.
Push the comments out till May 1st.
So we push the
If
comments
they don't
on
get a lot of
3
people
months.
trying to push back on it throughout the country, you know, it's gonna get pushed through.
So, I don't, you be the voluntold one to call Chip Nyman and Alan Slagle and Sherry and Driscoll.
It's Harriet Hageman.
Well, no, that's what we use our representatives for.
Well, they call her.
They would fight for it at, legislation, so, and then you call.
Well, from what I kind of gleaned out of the one deal that I watched, like, Congress doesn't really have anything to do with OSHA. I mean, so.
They created it.
What? Yeah, they created it, but OSHA's laws aren't regulated by Congress, from what I understood.
Wow.
Am I wrong?
I hope you are wrong. This is the United States of America.
It's gotta be under
There's
one of
difference
the,
between federal OSHA
the cabinets.
and then you get state OSHA. Wyoming really doesn't have like they have an OSHA through
Well,
the
look
state
it
of
up on
Wyoming, but
Google.
they're not
Who regulates
staffed, I
OSHA?
guess, to run like fed OSHA is.
It'll have to be under the one of the cabinets.
On our side, you know, where the business
Probably
side,
agriculture.
where the feds can come in and do what they call an NAP for like chemical plants, refineries, national emphasis program. The state can also do that through the OSHA program, but they don't really have the staff to run it like the feds do.
In Wyoming?
You know, we can talk with the fire.
In Wyoming?
It's,
And
Don,
that's gonna be, you know, something that Jane and I talked about.
I think
is-
Donnie's talking
Department
about
of Labor.
Department of Labor.
You know, how do we get that support, whether it's a support letter coming from the city council as one of the members, but that's only one entity, and we're having to talk with other entities trying to push back on this process, because it is gonna be a detrimental setback for any department. And myself, you know, with what we're gonna have to do to comply with the new added regulations.
And I know that's one of the, we've got a chiefs meeting in Riverton on Saturday, and that's supposed to be one of the big conversations with the chiefs meeting. And I'm sure Byron will be there, the fire marshal. I'm sure he's gonna probably get an earful.
I know it doesn't affect this budget, but it's gonna be coming down that pipe.
Somebody's gonna affect our budget anyway, is what you're saying. Damn.
Well, let's keep our fingers crossed. I hate OSHA. Alright, I don't have any questions for you guys. Besides, how was that training the other day?
Good.
Went really well.
We picked all the lights and it was kinda neat passing it going on. Yeah. They had a big training over at the old Black Hills Plumbing.
Sean Crabtree has opened up the old Black Hills Plumbing building and house to us.
Oh, I see the hose shop in the roof.
Yep.
Yeah.
For us to go in and just do some real life scenario training. So kind of set up, ran a hose line in, put firemen in, simulated trap firemen where they had to hook up together and buddy breathe.
Oh, that's cool.
And then I sent another team in. They were all
blacked out to where they couldn't see what was going on, but they could follow the hose in, find those 2 firemen, and get them out. So just get them comfortable with working in an environment that would be smoky and dark, like we'd see in a normal structure fire. Had them go through a 6 foot long tunnel that's a 24 by 24 and full bunkers with air on. Kind of get them out of their comfort zone, but I'd rather put them in that position in training versus in a real life scenario. And then we took the tower and had some folks get up on the roof and get a saw and cut holes in the roof, because that's one thing that we just don't get to do a lot of. So we're very grateful for Sean for opening that up to us and letting us go in and do some hands-on training.
So now can you go in and burn it down?
We
Or
won't-
what are we
we
gonna
won't
do
be
with,
burning it down.
or what are we gonna do with the house?
Sean
with the-
is planning on tearing it down.
Well, you could start a real fire for you, and then you could come out.
Yeah, like what I thought.
Mom, watch it.
We have to put it
Take
out.
notes.
It's been on fire once already, we put it out.
That was your fault.
Yeah, you shouldn't have put it out.
Well, thank you guys. That's all I got. Anybody else for them?
Is that your last one? Is that your last one?
I don't have any other questions for you.
I don't either. But we appreciate you coming.
Yeah, and we appreciate you guys. Thank you for your service.
We're really glad you put it out. We're just
Alright, so moving on, we have, if you look in the letters that you have in front of you, we got one from the Humane Society. You're not here today, we're on page 8, 9.
9.
So they're asking for more money. I know some of the questions we asked them, I think it was, I'm not sure, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but getting their supplies local.
We
Have they
did.
ever gotten back to us on that?
I think they said they try as much as they can.
They were talking to us about that. They were one of the 4 entities that got called back about their budget that we talked to last year. And they said they just couldn't afford to try to buy stuff in town. But they bought their food in bulk from some other entity, and they just couldn't beat the price here locally.
$20,000, and I guess that's what they had last year.
They
They had
had
18,
They had
18
They
last
had
year,
ours, huh?
or 13.5.
That was page 9.
Well, they're not here to ask any questions. Do any of us have any questions on theirs? And we're gonna go back over
Yeah.
these, so. But, we have another, letter from the Children's Center. And
They're on page 8.
Page what? 8.
They're not asking for an increase this year.
correct me if I'm wrong, but are they another entity that has to get a certain amount from the local government?
Yeah.
They're requesting 9.
Yes.
Well, they're not here, so we'll go over that one later too, so. All right, do we want to, go back over all of these, or, we can get over to the city and to the police department and then go back over? Okay. Greg, since yours is so long, we're gonna go to Chief.
Okay, where are we?
Page 3.
Make it quick.
I'm gonna go out and get a bottle of water.
Wait, does anybody need to take a few minutes?
That'd be good.
Okay, let them take a few minutes. Let them get mentally prepared for what you're gonna throw at us.
Yeah.
I am gonna ask, I'll wait till everybody sat back down.
You got people asking.
We need to look at this, because this is where we're at. We need to understand.
Yeah, well, I figured we would talk.
Right.
Then we can see.
And before we start at the beginning.
Yeah.
No.
No, it did not happen. I can guarantee you it did not happen.
They know better.
Why that wasn't misunderstood.
Should be.
There's nothing for me to look at. They don't have it.
On the hill, passing on to
They don't know.
the lower guy.
You can do that when you don't have people around. You can do that when you don't have people around.
As long as OSHA isn't watching, you're fine.
Not many people. I come around the corner there.
We better do some calisthenics.
Windmills.
We could do some side straddle hop.
Oh, God, yeah.
Lawson said you were chasing the kids around.
Well, they used to call them jumping jacks.
Yeah.
Now they call them side straddle hop.
We call them all.
Make it.
Then I know what you got for a PE teacher.
I'm hoping we're done.
Like this cat puke stuff looks good.
I figured.
I thought everybody else had already eaten, so I just dug in right in the beginning of the meeting.
I'm just gonna stand here and preach.
Now I feel like a heel.
You can ask for some money, Tom.
Brothers and sisters.
You can ask for some money.
Well, I should, because I gotta get a new hip, and that's very expensive.
He's gonna buy that building, he paid for that out of his interest.
Right.
Stacy, you made everything?
I did. I wanted to keep you guys from being hangry, I said.
Thanks, Stacy.
Hangry.
What, no cake?
I brought cookies.
You didn't tell me that was
I was wondering why the lights were
Huh?
on.
You didn't tell me that was the trick. I would have made something.
I was doing it for all of us.
You know, Tyrell was on the eat.
I thought I was running late and everybody already ate. So. Stacy, do we keep minutes for the 6 o'clock meetings prior to the council meeting?
What's that?
Do we keep minutes for the meetings prior to the council meeting?
Some of the special meetings that are technically a special meeting, yes. For workshops, no.
No, it must
I
have
am-
been, it was a workshop.
She did?
I think she did, yeah.
I am recording it though, and I think Donnie is recording as well at the request of the newspaper.
You're not eating again, huh? You eat in the middle of the meeting, but you won't eat now.
No, yeah,
They came in.
man, I was a jerk just sitting over here munching on corn chips and.
Yeah, we heard you.
Yeah. I'm sitting down with Brian. So his thoughts are. Why are you at the Yeah. Later on in summer or something.
I might take those home. My husband doesn't like raisins, so.
They're craisins,
Oh,
not
are they?
raisins. So if he likes craisins, then he'll be okay.
Well, I wasn't taking them home so that I could have them and not get.
Well, there you go. Well, then don't tell him. Just tell him. Let him think they're
She's,
raisins.
Right.
22 years older than me, so she's 66 maybe. Or I turned 45.
$5
next month,
a gate or
so
something
her-
like that.
So maybe she's,
Or canned good.
she's 22. She's
It's
60.
going back to the food bank or whatever.
It's very good. I think the dip was yummy.
Thinking about talking to parents or something, see if they want to do hot dog or something.
I didn't notice it was brought, I just left right here.
I think it's a dip, right?
Yeah, it's for the chips.
Chip dip.
I'm with George Bush on that rock.
Remember that look he had on his face when that guy threw his shoe at him? He was like, he had that look on his face like, he just threw his shoe at him.
Didn't do that.
Drinks like water, something like that. Just keep it simple.
Thanks, Stacey.
You're welcome.
Get community involved.
I didn't know it was gonna be a carry-in.
When I was making a,
Or I'd made something.
I figured a few snacks. If you sign that last word,
Yeah, like a brisket.
that's when I was talking and tried to
Gotcha.
get him to follow one.
Yeah.
What kind of pork roast do you do to make that usually?
But,
Your pulled pork.
but,
So we were talking, we would go full 90 or something like that. That might be a quick
and
deal.
the older the better.
Play for an hour or
So,
something. Just have fun.
there's a shop up in Gillette, out on 150. And the OSHA guy from the state was driving down the highway. He looked over in the yard.
Oh, yeah. With the new name. Or the new name.
He went in there, cost him $5,000. Each? No, just cost a couple $5,000.
So you just holler when you're ready and I'll holler out there for you.
Patience out of volunteer.
Oh.
Saturday after.
Advocacy meeting today.
See what that's already in town, you know.
How'd your advocacy meeting go today for your meeting with those Stafford?
Pretty good. Pretty good.
Yeah.
There's a lot more.
What's Tom going in for? Yep.
Oh, yeah, no. Well, I mean, like the whole. I had a meeting with Corey, she works in the same office, 3 o'clock today. And I got to meet her on Capitol Hill for our fly-in last year.
Yeah.
And then Senator Brasso was the only elected official that actually showed up for one of our meetings. Yeah, and then he took a picture with me and he signed it and he sent it to the house. That was really nice of him.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That was good going.
Thank you.
Very.
Oh, it's all on here now.
Oh, yeah, he was. Yeah, Corey
I like
was
that
one
dip.
of his staffers that was here with
Yes.
him during.
Could have left the broccoli out.
That's what I like.
We needed something healthy, John. The rest of it's probably not, obviously.
Yeah, she said Chaz,
Celery.
because I thought they came together. She's like, no, like, he's gonna visit the chief, I'm visiting you, that was just kind of passing. And
It was kind of prices off the Jericho, I'm standing on the highway, and the people over there, and it's, they're all communications. There's people from range,
So don't we have another meeting after this? Don't we have another meeting yet?
Do we have one more after this?
Let's hope not.
Oh, we're gonna do everything
From
tonight?
9 o'clock?
Well, if we need to schedule another workshop, we
should
can.
I just go to the land?
Oh, I thought we did last time, didn't we?
We did, because we kind of had issues, so I'm hoping we don't have a lot of issues and then we don't have to, but.
Budget session.
We'll see how much we get hashed out and make the numbers work.
That's the thing.
So are they hanging out to make sure that they get what they want?
Yeah, that was really good. Thanks, Chris.
Oh, technology, right? So then we had a hybrid meeting. So then you have a Teams meeting open while you're meeting with somebody in person. And then people are just amazing what we can do. It's turning into some Star Trek crap.
It's a little subtle, not great.
No, I know. Especially when they catch us sitting on the plane. You thought your camera was on.
Oh, yeah.
You can mute it.
That's never happened.
All right, Chief, you
That
might
the
have
honey
some,
snack?
you might have some crunching going on, but you're ready.
That's all right. If you're eating, you're not yelling at me, so. All right, so I'll just say it for you. It begs the question, how do you get rid of the dispatch center and your budget goes up? The couple things I can point out is obviously we increased the salary some. That doesn't reflect in the increase in the budget because we have less employees now. The one expense that's lingering from the past is that $142,000 we still
Pull it right here,
we have a choice
209,
now.
yeah.
We've got to pay it, and we've made an agreement with them to pay in the second half this year. The other areas that went up, because we don't have the revenue from the E911 funds anymore, we're going to have to cover our own under. We didn't know really where to put it. We put it under dues, memberships, and subscriptions, and that covers our CAD system, our records management system. It's $64,000, but that's for 5 years, and I've got to get some clarification. Do we have to pay that at one time, or can we pay that out over years? I don't know the answer to that yet. But the way it reads is I have to pay that up front, and then I have subscription and maintenance for 5 years. So I need a little bit of clarification on that one.
So that would just be, if they want it all up front, we won't see this charge for 4
That's what
years.
he's talking about.
If they want, yeah, you would see that recurring $64,000 for 4 years. Because it's an initial $20-some thousand for the licensing, and then it's a gradually increasing cost over the next 5 years for maintenance and things like that. And that's this new CAD system, this new Flex system. It's actually cheaper than CIS. It's $30 a year. So, in the long term, it'll save us money in theory. Like, I'm scared even saying that anymore. But, and then the Joint Powers Board, I have in the paperwork, I think I have 367,000.
713.
713.
Yeah. Got two different sheets here I'm working off of, I apologize. That actually, after I submitted this, we kind of worked on the Joint Powers Board budget, and it went up pretty significantly. That's looking more like they're gonna request about $400,000 from the city.
Why is that?
So I guess the easy answer is there's a lot of things that weren't projected in there. There's no IT services. There was a lot of telephone services that we weren't even aware existed when they started the Joint Powers Board. There's a lot of fees that, whether it's 911 services, PBX phone system services, that are to the tune of $30,000 or $40,000. And then I think they shot a little low on the salaries maybe when they first started budgeting. And being a brand new entity, some of those things are just going to be unforeseen. So that's an increase that nobody wants, obviously. But, and that's again based off that percentage. I don't have that sheet right in front of me here, but it's just shy of 50% of that cost is what the city is responsible for, basically off the population. So, and that was one thing, kind of sidetrack here, but when they're talking about ambulance districts and calls for service and things like that, wouldn't that be just as easy to base that off population, just like you divvy that up amongst the different entities involved for the ambulance service. So they say the county's paying 30,000, paying 100,000. That'd be based on population, just like we're doing it. Just a thought, but.
I think that's what would help, is if we got a district, it would help that though. We
Right.
wouldn't have to divvy everything up, it would just
Yeah.
be,
Right. So those are the big areas of increase. Obviously, health insurance went up, as with everybody.
as with everyone.
And then, in some of these numbers, I'm just shooting in the dark because we're losing a portion of our personnel, so I don't really know how it's gonna be. We're in a new building, I don't really know what the bills are gonna be. I just kind of took a shot at that, to be fully honest with you, because I don't have any historical data to go off of. For certain things like, heat, water, and lights, or whatever that line item was. We're in a new building, I don't know what it's gonna cost just yet. And,
Which is understandable.
I have to work with Stacy a little bit to figure that out in the coming years. So. Is there any big questions about anything in particular? Or?
Okay, when it says here, IT services, $41,954.
IT services.
I'm on
It's
page
right
4.
above joint powers board.
Okay.
There's two of
Is
these.
that joint powers board or you?
That's me. That's for the police department. So
Okay.
it costs us about $1,900 and it costs us $2,000 a month for basic items. This is a little bit high, this 41,000 for last year, because there was a lot of the infrastructure, if you will, that wasn't completed for the new police department. They had to bring in some switches and some, I won't bore you with the technology because I don't know what the hell it is.
It won't be that high next year.
It shouldn't be as high. The base IT services are $2,000 a month. I put a little extra in there, I think I went with 30,000 if I remember right.
Yeah.
To get some new computers if we need them, because some of our stuff is aging, new monitors, things like that. And before we had an IT person, with that IT person was costing us a lot more than $30,000 a year. So. And with our IT services, they do provide several different backups. They provide an on-site backup, an off-site backup. They provide remote services 24 hours a day. They take pretty good care of us, honestly. Anytime I call them, they get it fixed pretty quick. They appear to have done some charity work for the Joint Powers Board. I don't know if they didn't know what they were doing, even though I told them that this was not the police department. But they seem to have treated us pretty well in that regard. They moved that dispatch center. Nobody's got a wheel for it yet.
Yeah, knock on wood.
Here on the number 323, their dues, memberships, and sub, that must be sandwiches.
Subscriptions.
Just kidding. It went from 4,500 to 67,000?
He said that earlier, he wasn't sure where to put something, so he put it in.
Yeah,
there.
that's $64,000 of that. Did we put that in dues and places?
Yeah, that's where we put
Okay,
it.
that's
there.
where that's due, okay. That's
That
what
was
we were talking about.
That's the computer license, or the CAD system licensing and all of that. And,
Okay.
I must have been looking at a different line item when I was talking about that though.
What kind of a new
CAD
one
and what
can we get
else
for
did he say?
$28,000?
That's just the payments on the
The,
loans.
64,000
Yeah.
is for that.
No,
The rest is for other.
Derek, you had to work
This
pretty hard
64 of
to
this.
crunch the
Okay.
numbers prior to coming to this meeting.
There's nothing on
Was there a benefit to moving to the joint powers dispatch services?
You know, I think there was. We did gain some ground, but we reallocated that elsewhere. You know, I guess the benefit is we
Monetarily.
divvied up the cost, and that allowed us to raise employee wages a little bit to be at least in the ballpark of being competitive. And, you know, our starting wage is $21.07 an hour for a police officer. That's our baseline wage. Now we implemented that wage schedule where it does go up with steps. But I'll tell you right now that our neighbors to the north, there's a patrol sergeant there that I'm very good friends with. He makes more money than I do as a patrol sergeant. So we had to raise our wages a little bit to be competitive, and we've been fortunate, but we don't have any applicants currently. So we were able to raise the wages a little bit, reallocate some of that money, but and then the having payroll roll back, that's also kind of a knife in the side. But ultimately, yes, we've been able to upgrade equipment, and we've been able to spread the cost of that out. So it doesn't look good on paper, because you would think the budget would go down, right? But I think it's allowed us to bring wages up to current standards, or somewhere in the front of current standards anyways, and it's allowed us to replace equipment that was very outdated, and it's get from 1980 technology to state-of-the-art technology. So it has helped, yes, but it doesn't look good on paper. Right?
Well, I appreciate it, thank you. So the dues and memberships and subscription was like a slush fund just to put some money because we didn't know where else to put it, basically.
We didn't know what other line item to put it.
It's more or less a subscription in a way for the CAD system, correct?
Exactly. So it used to, I think it used to probably fall under the E911, but we don't get those funds anymore. They stopped giving us those funds. Those go to the Joint Powers Board. So.
Okay, thank you.
Just for clarification, Derek, the joint power or the joint dispatch services, you think we need to bump that up to like 400,000 versus the 367?
Yes, that's in our, and we haven't done our budget workshop yet for that. That's coming next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah. I helped Dave out a little bit with just a preliminary look at what we're going to need, and it looked like the city share was going to be around that 400,000 mark.
And the line item 209 in the E911 new equipment. Is that the one you were talking about that the radio equipment went into?
That's that old Motorola bill that we have
Yeah.
to pay half of still.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, that's that Motorola bill. And that was something that had been slated to be paid out of the general fund, I think, 2 years ago. Slipped through the cracks somewhere. So, yeah, no.
I thought I heard you say something about their Motorola, but
Yeah,
I was on
that's the other half of that Motorola bill.
So there's a lot of these big expenses that won't be there next year. But then there's new expenses taking over those. So,
Yeah, the Motorola bill should be done. That's the other half of that. And then if they made me pay the $64,000 for this CAD system stuff up front, then that wouldn't be there. That would be back down to the.
that'd be nice to start putting away for the next 5 years. So.
So that joint dispatch of 400,000, that will be a yearly thing, you're saying? Okay.
Yeah. That's one thing, and I heard Tyrell say it before, you look at the sheriff's budget and you look at our budget, one of the things you gotta watch out for is I think they're not putting that in the sheriff's office budget. It's in a different budget, as are their vehicles.
Yeah, it's just like the vehicles, it's not in their budget.
Not in their budget, yeah.
How can that be? That's kind of.
Where is it?
Comes out of their general
Fund. So you gotta make sure you're comparing apples to apples there.
Well, we could do that.
Okay.
I think it's kind of, we wait 6 months. I mean, I know we gotta make an approval of the agenda, but, or the budget, but I think it'd be wise of us to look back at it in 6 months and kind of see if things are getting in the flow. And if we have
And
to.
not wait until the end of the year.
And do some amending if we have to. So it's gonna just be a learning process for all of us.
Right. Yeah, that's the problem is everything about it's new, some new and tweaks.
I don't see anything that's really out of whack right now, other than some of the stuff that you mentioned, but I mean, that's to be expected.
Yeah, and I came in here honestly with the same question on my mind. How do I get rid of a dispatch center and my budget goes up? That troubled me. And I was like, how do I explain this to you guys? And, you know, I don't think we gained any ground as far as direct financial, you know, just dollar for dollar. How do I get rid of this dispatch center? If you take into account the payment we make to the Joint Powers Board and then the $142,000 we're still over the radios. But I think we kind of basically made a one-for-one exchange, if you will, and came out with better wages, better equipment, better employee retention.
Okay.
I guess some Aaron made a valid point, that we just have to revisit this once you start paying some bills and understand what's going on.
Yeah, there's still things to be explored as far as utilities and the other thing that's kind of still up in the air. I shouldn't even say this out loud, but I'm curious of who's paying the administrative line phone bills for the dispatch center, because they're not paying them. We're not paying them. So I don't know if the sheriff's paying them, or I don't know if they're part of the PBX phone system. There's so many different working parts in that system that I haven't yet discovered exactly what's what, if that makes sense to you. I know there's 5 companies involved when you make a 911 phone call. There's Trotto, which does the anti-alley address location information data. There's Lumen, which is the 911 trunk provider. There's Range, which physically pipes the calls into the building. There's CenturyLink, which is the parent company of Lumen. And then there's CallWorks, which is the system that handles the calls on our end.
Nothing can go wrong there.
Stacy, do you get these bills?
We get Range. I think our CenturyLink, are those just getting passed to
Yes.
the Joint
CenturyLink
Powers
and
Board?
Westel are just getting passed to the Joint Powers Board. And our Range bill, we've cut down by $1,300 a month.
So those other ones that are involved, so do
some of them,
we call the
three of them
county and
come
ask
under
them
one
if
bill.
they're getting the bill for that? Like,
What's
we gotta try to figure out where that money's going or who's paying it?
Let a sleeping dog
Well,
lie.
the ones that fall under CenturyLink, we did used to get, but we haven't gotten because they're being passed to the Joint
So
Powers
there's
Board.
essentially three company services come on a CenturyLink bill. It's CenturyLink, Lumen, and Trotto. So, but I'm wondering, so I don't understand, I guess the positive side of this is we're not paying for them one way or the other, but I don't understand exactly where the administrative lines that come into the system are paid, if they're paid under Westel or if they're paid by the county. So
I mean, like,
we're not paying them is the important part.
if there's some account out there that's just building up, and then
We're gonna get
the
hit.
town goes bankrupt and the other kicked out of town, or, I mean, if it's pooling somewhere, like what happens? Like who gets hit with that bill?
Yeah.
Is that gonna be on your next year's budget, and then you're gonna have 142,461 on next year's budget?
It's getting paid because somebody would have called us by now.
Okay,
So,
okay.
It's not something that's going unpaid. It's just, like I said, there's so many working parts to running a communication center and that's part of the reason that budget has gone up, because Chief Bowles was the one that started this, and frankly, no discredit to him, but he didn't have any idea of all the working parts. And I've slowly learned most of the working parts, but I still wouldn't say I know every single one of them.
they're working on getting that 50 line. Is that line?
50
Yeah,
pair.
there was like 9 or 18 lines that Leanne set up. Did we get rid of those?
Yes,
Okay.
we just shut those off because we were still using them until we moved the dispatch center. So we just shut them off.
Okay. I'm sure that was.
I think we've been rid of them for about a month now.
Okay. Well, like I said, I think we should just revisit this when you have a couple months under your belt and see.
We'll look back and see where we're at. Yeah. I would agree with that.
All right. Any questions for Chief before we go to Greg? All right, you're up.
You're getting out of here. I'm out of here. I don't blame you. See ya.
Start off with streets budget,
All right, hold on, we gotta find it.
Page 5?
page 6.
Okay.
Where? Streets is
that's
right
doing
here.
To start on 5 at the bottom,
Yeah.
Greg.
No,
Your salary.
On page 5 at the bottom.
Is you
Streets and
cover
alleys.
his salary up.
what's that?
You're gonna cover your salary up.
Currently, we do not plan on increasing any of the salaries for any of the departments. We still have one position open, and that's what the rest of the money is for. Haven't found that person yet. The equipment, we did have the loader lease purchase in there, or the lease payment. There are 2 other items we would like to get. One is a material screen. Getting rid of the compost area, we get rid of our screen. We would haul our screen from the compost area over to the whole landfill and use the screen material. So we won't have that after we start the new landfill. Or after the new landfill takes it over, the screen will go with the compost area.
So we're leaving the compost pile here?
That's their intent. The county, the solid waste district wants to leave it where it's at.
Okay.
They said it's convenient for the citizens, and it would be probably used a lot less if it was at the new landfills. They're trying to keep it there. The only problem is we don't know about the lease on the land.
I think we're gonna see a lot of trash on 85 for 5 miles anyway.
Yeah. The other item is a hot box for asphalt. It's a 4-ton heated box, so we can keep hot asphalt warmer longer. Like right now, we could actually make some asphalt and do some patchwork, but we can't keep it hot enough because when we start firing things up, it's 40 degrees out. So the asphalt gets too cold too quick. The other items in there is for the Durapatch rental and the crack seal rental. Crack seal rental is around $5,000. We'll have that for about a week. That includes the material for the crack seal. Durapatch rental is $4,500. We rent it twice.
And when
Once
is
in the
that?
fall, once in spring. What's that?
When are you renting it?
May.
Gray Boulevard, please. Thank you.
So, Greg, what line item are you on right now?
41, 43, 10, 205.
205 equipment?
Yeah.
So all those items that you just listed are heaped into this line item?
Yes.
Okay.
We were able to decrease the road materials. We didn't use as much road chemicals as what we did in the past. So we actually have about 2 semi-loads still left. We typically go through 4 loads a year. J-base, we're probably about the same as we always are. The price went up a little bit, but we do purchase $20,000 every year from that. In line item 384, road contracts.
have, or I had anticipated doing the chip seal project we had to bypass this budget year. We decreased it a little bit, decreased the scope of the project to help cover some of the expense for the 7th Avenue paving. When we do the 7th Avenue water sewer project, the water and the sewer line will cover 10 feet of the road. We have a 30-foot wide road, so 20 foot of it will be paid through the grant and the project. The other 10 foot of the road we have to pay for. So we need roughly $70,000 to cover the other 1/3 of the street.
Are we doing the 7th Avenue project?
Yep.
Yeah.
City employees?
No,
Okay,
no,
Okay.
it's a contract.
Okay.
They'll be working on,
that was my question,
they'll
okay.
be working on Gray Boulevard.
I'm glad that you're
Yeah.
budgeting to pave the rest of the road, so we're not just doing street cuts, 10 foot, or 20 foot.
Yeah. And with the geotech design and the engineering with it, we're actually gonna do more than just throw 6 inches of asphalt over there. We're geo-gridding it, putting some extra gravel down so that the road will last.
On 7?
Yeah.
That's great.
It's designed, I believe, for 12 inches of engineered fill, 6 inches of gravel, and then 6 inches of, or 4.5 inches.
Because the railroad drives their heavy trucks on that.
Yeah. That was one of the reasons we upped the numbers and the engineer asked about how many times Burlington, Northern, or Russ go across there. When we're dealing with that, we look at the size of truck and the number of units per month. We figured about 20 to 30, looking at the loads they're doing with the type of subgrade we have to deal with. We geogridded 12 inches of engineered fill, 6 inches of base.
Those things are heavy too.
So the chip seal project will scale it back a little bit. We're not going to do North Summit is the only road we're not going to do, but I still want to get that done north of Main Street in this area. Any other questions about the streets?
When you say you're gonna scale it back on item 384, it says $370,000. So that's,
We had originally budgeted $350,000 last year, so we knocked that back to $300,000. And that's gonna be minimal to cover.
Do I have a typo? I have 370.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 7th Avenue is 70,000.
Okay.
So the 300,000 for the chip seal and 70,000 for
yeah,
7th
okay,
Avenue.
that's
Oh, so those two together.
No, and I think that's important too, that we're budgeting for chip seal again. Our roads are gravel. Well, that's the reason our roads are so bad, is they gave up on the chip seal program. What's next, Greg?
Where do sidewalks fall?
What's that?
Where do you put sidewalks at?
That would be, it depends on what we do, like when we do the repairs, it'd be typically road work projects or road work contracts. Other than that, the only other place is 250 is what we usually do. Tools, supplies, and training, because there's no line item for sidewalks. On to the cemetery. Wages we kept the same. We'll hire 2 seasonals this year. Nothing really major changes, no really real major changes other than the urban forestry and landscape. This year we budgeted 25,000, but to shift some money to other things, we decided that was for sodding, the new part of the cemetery.
Mm-hmm.
We only did part of it, we're gonna seed the rest of it since we should have enough time to get grass growing in the other part that we haven't put sod down on. Sod prices also went up significantly over the winter. So we figured we'd spend 5,000 on seed and fertilizer, whatever else we need for that. Other than that, there's nothing really more else with the cemetery other than the decrease for the sod.
I don't have any questions on the cemetery.
In the parks budget, 4510, 205, looking to replace one of the mowers. One of our mowers is pushing 18 years old. It's starting to act up. We're starting to spend some money on it. So we want to get one of the mowers replaced.
One of the zero turns, the Husqvarna.
Yeah. We're actually
No,
going
a
to try
Kubota. Kubota, it says.
Oh, it's the Kubota.
Kubota? What?
Yeah, when we last time we received quotes for mowers, Kubota was the cheapest. Hustler, Laser Mark, John Deere, Cub Cadet, they were all higher.
Well, there's nothing wrong
So,
with the John Deere.
Kubota makes a zero turn?
Yeah, Kubota, that's the mowers we have now. All of our mowers are all Kubotas.
Just because they're the cheapest, that mean we have to buy them?
They last, they hold up. I mean, we're getting 18 years out of a mower.
I just, when you said Kubota, I just pictured red legs like turned sideways on the hill by Washington Park, holding up the mower with one hand, scooping it out.
Yep.
Yes.
Was that Jared?
Oh, yeah, he's done it too.
You've done it too. But,
Yeah.
We were just talking about OSHA earlier.
The thing about the mower is the last one we bought was $14,000. New one's $24,000. They want up $10,000.
Inflation.
Yeah.
Japanese
That
import.
sucks.
Right. Yeah, when we bought the last one in just prior to COVID for the cemetery, and it was $14,000.
How do they justify that?
People pay it. With a smile.
No kidding.
So the only line items I see that you have increases are the one we just talked about, 205 and 300 recreational facilities.
Yeah, the $60,000 is to cover the match funds for the Dow Park bathroom.
Okay. So that makes sense. And then, that's not an increase. It's the budget. So total has increased by 21%.
Like Pump Park somewhere?
Hmm?
Do we need to
Are
make
we
a-
funding it?
No, but we don't need to have a line item for that.
I guess I don't know.
Do we need to make a line item for the bike pump park?
If we're not funding it, I don't know why we would.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm just wondering, like, if we need to have it listed somewhere because,
If you're gonna go for any federal grants, you have to have a separate line item for the project.
well, I know that the fence sprockets are gonna probably do some grant writing.
Yeah, so it would be beneficial to have a line item specifically for that project.
All right, thank you.
No further questions on parks, Greg, that I know.
What's happening with the bike path?
It's still being engineered. We redirected the engineer because they're the same ones that are working on Duff Avenue and 7th Avenue project. So they said we can work on 2 of the 3. Which one do you want done first? And I said Duff Avenue and 7th.
Yeah.
So It's still in the works.
So this is just sitting there, the 40,000.
That 40,000, which I'll tell you when we get ready to do the project, it's not gonna cover our match. It's gonna be more like 140,000. Yeah, the pathway, the grant we would use for that, the expenses involved with the contract, with building the sidewalk now, your 25% match is gonna be quite a bit.
Is the traffic gonna increase? I mean, any more than it is now?
I don't know. It would help the kids from Morrissey Road and South Side to get in town, so that's what it was intended for.
Yeah, I've walked it a couple times from the dealership back in the
You
town.
never see anybody walk by.
There's a lot of people that
and
really walk that.
Also,
A lot of bikes and scooters on the sidewalks though.
budgeted 2,000 for the pet waste stations on the bypass.
Cool. Thank you for not hiding a truck in every line of them.
That was really frustrating last year.
No, it was
2 years.
2 years ago.
2 years.
I only have one truck, or only have 2 trucks.
I always thought it was kind of fun.
One's the new
Where's
garbage
this one?
truck.
It got, yeah.
The second one is a new 1-ton dually for the hill garbage.
For the what garbage?
Hill garbage. The one we use the small unit on.
Oh.
Yeah, that
That goes
1990.
up.
What do you call it, the hill garbage?
Because it goes
It's-
up hills.
it's Hill garbage route. It's places we can't get the regular garbage.
Oh.
truck.
Goes up like by Aaron's house.
I see him.
I'm answering Tom.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, there's places we go that,
Okay, Lola.
to get a big truck like that into, they just don't fit. Skyline Drive's a great example.
Yeah, that truck's running pretty rough too.
Yeah, it is. It's overdue for replacement. So, the
Another cemetery pickup.
cash, 41, 47 in capital expenses.
41, 47.
Page
Where you
10.
at, Greg?
Page 10.
Page 10, sorry, very top,
47, 10.
531 and 602.
I thought he said 41.
We increased those to make payment for the Well 5 project.
We're still paying on that?
We'll pay for the next 30 years. It's $33,000 a year loan. So,
Good night.
415110 wells, tanks, and pumps. We did increase our water sampling. We've done quite a bit extra sampling this year, plus we have well 5 being green committee still hasn't told us what we have to do yet.
10.
Why does it go up like that?
We have to do quarterly sampling on it for all the different things we test for, VOCs, SOCs, IOCs, radionuclides, nitrates. After we do 4 quarters, then they'll set our routine schedule as to what we have to sample for and when.
Okay. That costs $40,000.
Yeah. The VOCs, SOCs, and IOCs alone are around $5,000 each. We gotta do 4 of those in 1 year.
Wow.
So.
We're in the wrong bit.
Line number 369, well maintenance, wells, tanks, and pumps. The increase on that is due to the pumps we're gonna replace at the old pump station. It was part of the pump improvements project that we had to finally scrap because we couldn't get a reasonable bid on it. We did scale back that project quite a bit, and we cut about $90,000 worth of expense off of a $300,000 project so far. The 120, transmission and distribution. The equipment, the only thing we're trying to purchase there with the equipment is a replacement skid steer for our 21-year-old skid steer. Our Bobcat S250 has seen better days.
That's the 96,000.
Yeah. Yeah, new skid steer's $96,000. Of course, that's a budget. The line item 230 improvements, that's $75,000 match for 7th Avenue water main replacement. The only other thing, the maintenance of meters. We are trying to finish up, we're trying to do another round of radios to decrease, be able to hook up to our FlexNet system once we get it up and running. It's also the other half of the FlexNet system that we decided not to purchase this year. So we're purchasing 300 radios. We've noticed a trend in some of our meters. The older ones, batteries are starting to fail on the regular. We replaced 20 of them in a week, our old SR2s. So we upped our numbers to cover any major loss of radio, or the meters themselves. Losing 20 of them in a week is pretty substantial. We usually go through 75 meters a year. So the other one, the Wyoming Honor Conservation Camp, the 1 meter they have is a fire detector meter. It's an 8-inch. We're looking at $30,000 for that meter alone. So,
Are you replacing all the SR2s with iPearls?
Yep. Yeah.
And then what percentage of the town have you guys covered with radios?
We're just, with the ones we have purchased now, we should be just about half.
About half.
With this round here, it'll be 300 closer. We have, with what we have purchased right now and we're installing, we have about 830, I think. We'll have it in place, and then 300 will give us over 1,000 out of the 1,400 services.
I'm gaining on it.
Yep. Other than that, we have one clay valve that we do have to replace in one of the control stations. We just cannot get the thing to work right. So, 8-inch clay valve used to cost us $8,000. When I priced it for the budget, it was $19,900.
Holy moly.
So, another one we did, kind of like what the chief is saying, Stacy and I have talked about it. We added a line item to this one for IT services. EPA is coming down the pipe at us. We know it's going to hit us sooner than later. We're going to have to meet cybersecurity rule requirements. Right now, it's in the proposed stage, but it's coming. I'm not equipped enough, knowledgeable enough in computers to set up an IT or cybersecurity controls and all that kind of stuff. We've talked to a couple different companies, seeing what we need and what we're going to have to purchase. Our department, we don't even have firewalls. We rely on whatever Microsoft has in computers right now.
With that, Greg, I talked to LinkTech about that, and I told them, I said, the city wants to use you, but can't afford you.
Yeah.
And they said, so we need to sharpen our pencil. I said, yeah, you do. So one thing we could do, maybe you, Stacy, and I, would set up a meeting with them and see if we can get an overall for the whole city.
Yeah,
to come off their price a little bit. they've been pretty reasonable with me, honestly, the service they provide is worth what we're paying, but I don't think you guys should be burdened with the same kind of fine.
Yeah, no, that was her intent to start with when Stacy and I contacted Lee-Tech, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I've been talking to Austin, I can't remember his name, but he's a co-owner. He's a little more amenable to working with us, I think, than David, the other co-owner, so.
But more tech we end up implementing, the IT services are gonna be necessary.
It looks to me like you have quite a few cuts, and then you do have some spikes for some line items, but it seems like it all kind of comes out in the wash.
The goal is trying to stay where we were at, well, as of this year's budget, so not increase. So we reduced some costs in like the transmission and distribution, because we knew they were going to be more expensive in the wells, tanks, and pumps with pump stations. So.
Did you hide a bunch of pickups in the water department?
Not a single
5130.
The only piece of new equipment other than pumps is the skid steer.
So, well, are we at the engineering part yet?
Yeah, where are we at, Greg? We were in transmission and distribution, right?
Yeah.
So, does anybody else have any further questions on that?
Are there any of like obviously on page 11, under the city engineer water department, I tried to do the best I could on the wages if we were to hire
That was gonna be my
engineer at
question.
$100,000 a year. So those are kind of contingent on the higher pay scale for the engineer if one's hired. But on the other engineering side, for that 390, under 5130, 390, I didn't know if there was anything that needed to be put in there.
It depends on if we get an engineer or not. I mean, we may.
How many applications have we received?
I've only handed out one that I know of. So.
So we're nowhere near to getting into the interview process?
No.
And how long has it been running?
3 weeks.
So we only have one applicant in 3 weeks?
No, we don't even have an applicant.
Request an application.
Oh, nobody's filled it out yet?
No, they're moving here, so. I talked to him briefly, they moved in behind me. My new neighbor is him and his wife both are engineers. She's the new engineer here in town, and then he's an engineer in Sundance for White Eye. That's the jobs I got. He'd rather stay in town. He's already tired of the driving. He's only been there like 4 weeks, so.
And we haven't even had snow yet.
Yeah, I said, you're lucky.
It's been real good.
That one may go up, it depends on what we end up doing. I'm trying to get as much as I can, some engineering done through the SRF program. improvements project, we'll do the majority of the engineering through the SRF program, so at least we'll get 25% of engineering paid for it.
So Stacy, you're saying, line items 110 through 144 is all based on $100,000?
Correct.
Okay.
And then I was hitting on the high side, that's also the health insurance for a family versus like a single person. So I kind of estimated on the highest side.
That seems prudent. I don't have any more questions on that.
For the other engineering, do you think it would be appropriate to put $50,000 in there? It looks like, kind of looking at the past, it's been close to that amount,
Yeah.
other than in 2021,
I
but.
mean, even having to do the feasibility studies and things like that is between $8,000 and $10,000. So after we do the 2025 improvements project, the next one we do, we're gonna have to have a feasibility study and some preliminary work done. That one's gonna be $8,000 to $10,000 immediately off the top. And that's if they don't do a geotech study or anything like that.
So 50, we're saying?
It's already there.
No,
No, it's not.
Well, we had it here.
it was previous, yeah.
So that'd be 100% of last year's budget.
Yep.
Anything else?
Not on that one.
Oh, you mean you're not done?
Oh, I got 2 more departments.
Oh, great.
That's why I saved them for last.
42, 52, 10 on page 13, sewer department.
52, yeah. Sewer. 5210. I thought he said. Oh, right here.
It looks like everything pretty much stayed the same except for line item 265.
Yes, and the 365.
Lagoon, yeah.
We've always had a problem at our lagoon, even after cleaning it. We still have the issue of short circuiting. That's when the water is going through the lagoon and basically being treated over time and go straight to the outlet. They make a baffle that we can float in it and basically put a curtain all the way halfway, 3/4 way across the lagoon and force the water to go out and around. Helps with short circuiting and to prevent having to clean cell B again anytime soon, this baffle will help deposit the majority of the stuff in the first cell. So we don't have to clean 1 cell instead of 2 cells like what we did. So
Yeah, it costs $50,000.
yeah, $50,000 for one of them. They recommended 2. I figured we'd try 1, see how it worked. If it works well, then we'll. If it doesn't work like we planned, then we can purchase another one later on. $50,000 probably will prevent $500,000, $600,000 cleaning itself next time.
Does it require any specialized equipment to install those baffles?
No, just a boat and a rope. We got both.
Yeah, I've been out there before.
Not your personal fishing boat, is it?
Yeah, you used to be. I rode his boat around
I used to have to bring my boat in to do it.
Make sure you get that checked for aquatic, invasive species,
No.
and the creature from the Black Lagoon.
This one's brown.
The other item we were wanting to purchase, we couldn't purchase last year because of the increased costs on the camera, and that's the sewer easement machine. We're looking at a used machine more so than a brand new. A brand new one's close to $100,000. So
Yeah, I thought that was a really good idea.
yeah, I'd really like to get one. At times we've got to take 7 or 8 people to get rod sewers in the creek and stuff like that. So. And in the spring of the year, we can't even get into any of the Cambridge Creek stuff at all.
Yeah.
So,
Plus, when you use those rollers in the manhole, when you knock the manhole lid off and
Flip the
get
person
knocked
holding it
over.
down,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's fun.
it's just dangerous. And we added another 10,000 for IT just to make sure we can cover Stacy's and my expenses and then. Because we're not sure how much it's gonna cost us right now. We're talking at our shop, we'll have to put in a firewall, which is, they're talking $8,000 to $10,000. So we don't know what kind of equipment. Yeah. I don't.
How are you running through it?
Well, because of the EPA stuff,
I have a 13-year-old grandson that probably built it.
they are cracking down.
Are we gonna need a new
So
shop?
does your son
What's that?
not wanna?
Are we going to need a new
I mean,
shop?
no,
I take
does
a
your
new
son
shop.
not wanna
1.8
apply
million.
for that job?
How much million?
1.8.
13-year-old?
I don't
No,
know.
your
I guess
son.
firewall, I don't know.
Can't get his
We
wife
can-
on.
About
Oh.
$1,400 what we paid for our brand new 40 gig firewall, so.
Yeah, he was talking switches and.
Yeah, switch, if you add a switch in.
So I gave them all the information on
They say yes,
so
we got
we
it.
We got 4 desktops.
Bill's building right now.
help with the construction of a new shop.
Yeah.
Garbage.
How long have you made any headway?
Yeah, alright.
Yeah. Let's move on.
Oh, we might have to touch base on this.
Smoke shop?
City engineer, sewer, if there's any other engineering.
Hopefully
For the-
they talked
Yeah,
about
page
earlier,
14
they
on
might
390.
have
I don't know if we need to add anything into there.
My time frames are getting a little weird since I've been on the council.
Okay, great. If we move on to 5220, we have a question on page 14, 390.
The other engineering again.
Yeah, I mean, because
I didn't catch that one right.
projects we're planning on doing,
5220, 390.
it's kind of playing the game a little bit, but our streets usually need more work than water and sewer underneath of it. While we do the water, it only takes 1/3 of the street replacement. We still have to come up with 2/3. If there's water and sewer underneath both, and our sewer system was put in pre-1949. So it needs replaced anyway. We get 2/3 of the street replaced whenever we do a water and sewer project. Costs are more expensive, granted, but we do get the street replaced on 2/3 of it and we improve our infrastructure.
And it just makes sense because we don't
Yes.
put old infrastructure under a brand new
Yes.
street.
You're
And then
talking-
you come along and you tear it up again and then it's,
Yeah.
everybody's mad. It's like, why are you doing that?
So yes, the other engineering would be positive because feasibility studies primarily.
So what should it be? 50?
I think the 30,000 should be added.
30?
30 on other engineering.
There's usually a lot less preliminary engineering to do on sewer than there is water.
Okay, moving right along.
Is the garbage department the last one?
Yeah.
For Gray.
Yeah, Stacy's got it.
Page 15, 43, 53, 10. We have the initial purchase for the garbage truck and the 205 equipment. And like I said, we need to replace our one-ton pickup that we use for hill garbage. We're looking at a used pickup around $30,000.
That
I
one
knew there
ran
was-
like crap when I worked for the city.
Yeah, the heater doesn't work either anymore. We've rebuilt the entire thing.
That's
Terrible.
No, they strip
Two
wings.
oh-
Yeah,
two
strip
oh
wings
five.
inside
Yeah.
there.
This is here, right?
What year is that thing? It's
Yeah, I
a
know, but I'm over here.
98?
Yeah.
205.
Those were terrible when they were new.
Yeah, the door's ready to fall off too, so.
I don't know if you stand by it very long, you get asphyxiated.
Yep. city captive on to do too. So it's time for replacement.
Line item 307, subscriptions.
I am not sure what that even is.
Cool, you can eliminate it from the budget and put it somewhere else.
There's $6,000 we can add towards something.
Oh, yeah, $6,000.
Put towards that garbage truck.
No, I don't know what that's used for.
I'm gonna assume it's different, different memberships or dues and things of that nature, but I can't think of what garbage would have.
Yeah, water and sewer we do. But I never.
I would have to pull a detailed report, but, I mean, obviously, we've spent 5,100 in it, of it this year.
Yeah, we don't know where it
Or, I'm sorry, 5,581 we've spent this year.
There's some of these line items.
Part of it, I think part of it is probably the Black Mountain side of things, because we divide that up between the different funds, so I believe that is probably part of Black Mountain.
Where's Black Mountain?
That's our software company, sorry, our software billing company.
So you split it up equally among all the enterprise accounts?
It's not equal, because obviously different parts you have more of a functionality for it, but I do believe that is what that is.
Everything else looks like it's pretty even keeled, Greg.
Will a lot of this change when the county opens theirs?
Well, kind of like Eric. We'll find out.
How do we know?
Yeah, because we don't even know what they're going to charge.
Right.
The last meeting I was at, they were kind of starting to discuss tipping fees, but they don't know what they're going to do yet for tipping fees. We can't set any kind of budget. I can't project anything without knowing what we're going to pay. I already know what we send to the landfill every day for weight, so that one's easy enough. I just need a tonnage that it's going to cost us, and then I can figure it out from there. The landfill 1 and 2 projects, they're going to jump this up significantly. We do know over our current rates, we're going to have to increase to cover those 2 alone. And I'm not so sure we shouldn't just do like an infrastructure fee for the landfills, 2 landfills. We're probably looking between the 2 alone, SRF loans for really close to $2 million.
Say that again, slow?
I'm guessing around $2 million in SRF loan. That's 25% of both projects, or of each project.
And what is it that we gotta do for that kind of money?
The landfill remediation project is the one where we're putting in the containment wall.
Okay.
And treating the water. The landfill 2 is the closing the landfill.
Yeah.
But as far as the new landfill and what it's gonna cost, I can't tell you yet. That's why I've been attending their meetings to see if I can get an idea where they're at. They were bouncing anywhere from $50 a ton to $130 a ton, so they're all over the board right now.
Holy smokes.
The average, we charge $120 a ton. Is what we charge.
What's that?
120.
$120 a ton.
Oh, 120.
6 cents a pound.
6 cents a pound.
We don't have to pay our own selves to dump our garbage in there.
No, and that's the thing that'll change.
Big
we'll
change.
1 full-time employee, 2 part-time employees. The biggest portion of the equipment repairs is out there. The 55,000 the 64,000 we spent last year was mostly landfill expenses. We also, our fuel costs will also drop significantly because the majority of the fuel we use in the garbage budget goes to the landfill. So, it's a trade-off, and I don't know how significant that trade-off is gonna be.
Well, I guess we'll see.
Think they'll get it done this year?
Yeah.
They're pouring footings. Jim, talked to Jim today, he said they're pouring footings for the building today.
It's pretty cool up there.
They're moving along, they just need to get that power line in there, to really get started. And took them 3 years to get that power line in. So,
They must have to negotiate easements across the LAK land.
oh, I don't, yeah, not my,
No, it totally mucks up the skyline out there. I don't know why they couldn't have pulled it off of that other line, the big power line's right next to the, so now there's a stupid power line running all the way across that field.
I think it's a different company. It's probably Black Hills Power that runs through there, and they come up from Powder River.
No, I was just appalled. I was driving up to my folks' place and there's a stupid power line mucking up the skyline.
I'll take complaints about my department.
Oh,
They twisted it both ends and set it near the fireplace.
Is there anything on the other engineering for garbage that you can think of, or will
Most
we?
of the engineering we're doing for that is going to be through the grants.
Okay, so we don't
Through
need
the
to,
SRF. I don't foresee much engineering outside of what Chuck are to be hired engineers.
right.
And hopefully, once we close ours, and our engineering costs should be nothing at that point for landfill.
Right.
Anything else?
Unless you have questions.
Not yet.
so 5320, did we cover that already?
Yes, and I don't see any real need for other engineering. The engineering is done for the landfill 1 remediation, the state's paying for it, and landfill 2 has already been engineered. So they do have to change a couple things, but we will do that in the project. With cease and transfer, picking up the majority of the bill, they will actually take care of the engineering as well. We'll have to pay down 25% of the cost of the project.
Okay.
Good. I guess we're done.
No, Stacy. Stacy's turn.
Stacy's turn.
Okay, Stacy.
I don't hardly see any of your light items have gone up.
No, mine are pretty consistent, I believe, other than the added in stuff for IT. And let's see, I have a supplies or equipment line item that I believe it's under on page 2, 4140, 205. In case we need a new server or any of the other equipment that's outdated for IT.
Increase of 500%.
Yeah, that was line item 205 and
The 4140, yeah.
Did you have to buy a new computer or something?
No, I'm budgeting in case
of.
we need some equipment for IT.
IT,
The
okay,
servers,
that's
yeah.
that. Jeez, Tom, you messed me up.
I wasn't showing them where it was. I didn't try to mess you up.
I did increase the budget for the accounting and auditing because that has gone up for our annual audits. Increase that a little bit. The city attorney, Dublin did mention to me that they may be requesting an increase in their pay for the next fiscal year. I did have some conversations a little bit about that. Their average billing is actually about $4,600 when we've averaged it out since we've had them since 2021. So they'll possibly be asking for about 4,500. So that's what I based the new budget on.
So you just made an increase in case.
Yep.
Well, I think we can scratch that.
That's a little scary, Tom.
I think we've kind of used him lately.
Yeah. And we'll be here a lot more soon.
Inflation in that drive is getting more expensive.
Yeah.
I think he's trying to get an office here
Oh, is it?
in town.
Do we have any space to rent?
Huh?
Left in this building, do we have any space to rent? Hey, we've got an office.
That room is full. You seen that room?
I've never been.
Maps and stuff, isn't it? Yeah.
We could digitize those and archive them if we, with the plotter that the engineer bought, or is replacing, we could actually scan all those and stuff them away in the closet.
So 4170 is the last one, Stacy. And I don't see any increases in that line. He decreases. Oh, except for the total for the account because you're projecting $10,000 of IT costs.
Correct.
Okay.
And the increase in salary for doubling.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm good.
So the biggest thing that we need to look at is the single paper she sent us.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, that one's kind of scary.
very.
What, this one?
Uh-huh.
Down the minus in front of it.
Yeah.
Shouldn't it be in red?
Well, under general, the first thing we
Yeah,
there
it
you go.
should be there.
We ran out of red ink.
The report just doesn't
I'm
print
just
one.
joking.
I know.
So what do we do here?
GoFundMe page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Save our town.
that's right.
Well, looking at those numbers too, you know, we added 80,000 with the engineering stuff in here, so that puts it to 8,702,628, so that's a deficit of $1,359,000.
Oh, thank you. He's making it sound better.
Okay, so we gotta go back to this one about income.
Have we heard anything more from our man doing the
Carl Brown.
water?
And that is the other thing. I didn't know. I just used the same numbers for our income side as we did for last year's budget because we don't. That's unforeseen what that's going to do.
Where is that?
He sent an email today, I don't remember what he said. He was asking some more questions about, primarily on the garbage.
I don't think that's gonna affect that number.
Yeah.
No, I know,
Even if
but
you
it's going to
find it.
affect my pocketbook when I go ready to
Yeah, no, he's.
start watering.
Stacy and I had a Zoom meeting with him last week, and we went through a bunch of stuff, got him the correct numbers, explained things. He thought he might have something to us preliminarily by the end of this month. So,
When do we start the process? We started it in December, right?
yeah.
And then he projected like 6 months for rate study, didn't he? So he's actually coming in a little bit under time.
And he was waiting on us for some stuff, primarily. He wanted to know
How
what
much
size
do we
of
have
water
to cut up?
services we had, residential, commercial, that kind of stuff, for all the accounts.
What do you
So
do?
he's getting in the weeds for every different kind of count.
That's his standard deal.
What we're gonna have to go
I
through.
think he,
Now we're gonna have to go through it
from
all.
talking with him, I think what he's gonna do is
You come up with this
structure
number?
rates that you can set up for like a 3/4 inch tap.
When
versus
it's
a 2
like
inch
10,000
tap,
here and
or you
10,000
can
there, I
set
don't
up
think
the
we're
rate
gonna do it here.
100,000
But,
or whatever. I
every
think
penny
building
that's
more
in it,
options
but
into
like,
it is
the
what
rec
he's
board
doing,
is
from what
never
I can
shut.
see.
So cancel.
Yeah, I know, I emailed him.
I know we stand to get a lot more revenue
38.
once we get our rates.
I don't even know if
This
that
is a
number, their
million.
their number's not even in here.
Yeah,
It's, it needs to be in this column. The preliminary budget number.
The rec board's not
Just
there.
looking at the inventory, see if we can see anything here. We got 3 enterprise
They're
Okay.
in last year's budget.
I think
but they're not
each
in this
councilman
one
should
yet.
have to start buying lottery tickets in favor of the city.
So they're not even
I think
here.
we need a raise.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, see here.
We gotta increase the income.
Yeah, but they're not. Yeah, I see that.
What page was that?
Well, hey,
Nine.
that was 3420 days. Did we charge those people that are now road dispatchers any rent?
We are,
Well, it says right here 0.
well, 7,500.
That's what we're working on right now is approving the lease agreement.
Yeah, the Joint
Yeah.
Powers Board is reviewing it, remember?
So once that's signed,
Okay, well, we were getting 10-4 from somebody,
No, yeah.
2021.
yeah, years ago, probably when the public defender maybe rented
Oh,
a
that's,
space.
there you go. Yes.
And then circuit court as well.
Well, isn't there still a court downstairs?
No, they're in the courthouse now.
In the basement of the courthouse.
That's the police department now.
Thank you for filling me in. I need that.
Just making sure.
You'd know that if you had an open house.
Yeah, if they
He
had
doesn't wanna do no.
Yeah, if there was an open house, so we could go see what all's down there.
With
City
cookies.
Hall.
Just don't take pictures.
So,
We could start kidnapping people's dogs and holding them for ransom.
so do we want to keep continuing or have a second session where we go back through it and start doing where we need to do cuts?
We gotta find $1 million too somewhere.
No.
So last year, and I apologize, I didn't print a different
Are we
report,
voting?
but last year we did put that $1 million from the general fund as a placeholder to be able to make things balance more.
Gee, I don't even understand what she said.
That's not surprising.
That's why everybody was up in arms last year.
I don't understand it either, though.
On the revenue report, page 1,
Yeah, I'm looking at
at
it.
the very bottom, the
Uh-huh.
3530.
Cash reserve.
Mhm.
Last year, we put that $1 million in there. I did not put anything over from cash reserves this year.
And then what was the balance of our cash reserves account?
I believe it's over 3 million. I don't have an exact number.
'Cause,
So you're bringing over.
So after we all lost, well, after I lost my mind, I won't speak for everyone else. Over last year's budget, it's common for us to move that $1 million over almost every year, right?
For the past few.
So then we would need to figure out how to come up with the $300,000 deficit or whatever it is. If we moved it over to balance things out. But then it's not a great practice
We're
because
gonna be
we
done in
keep
3 years. We won't have a.
I don't wanna be on the council when that million, that, whatever, how
Yeah,
many
when that
million
runs out,
is
we're screwed.
0. That's what happens to my bank account at my house.
I just put
Please.
So if you see the council in financial trouble, then
Money, I'd burn mine.
you'll bring your
Resign.
resignation.
Resign.
we can't be like Mr. Biden and just give away money.
Are we voting on a second session or?
Yeah. I think
But
we
second
should
second
come to
budget
a
session?
consensus.
I think
So
we
let's vote.
should. You know, we get tired and then we don't think.
All in favor, say aye.
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 We don't.
Don't you think?
What?
No,
Don't you think we just get tired and
I just,
we need
I
to?
mean, we've
I
been here
think we
for 3
should
hours.
have a second.
I do too.
So do I.
But that's what we
Everybody
did, that's what we did last
take this
year.
home and look at it.
Start getting run down, you know?
Yeah.
So it is a
So-
workshop, but we could take a consensus.
So let's, look at our calendars in front of us.
Yes.
Well,
Thursdays are out for me.
Tom's having surgery.
Do we wanna meet before our next council meeting?
Don's
Or do-
out of
we
town all week except for
No, we don't wanna
Friday.
do it anywhere near our next council
And
meeting.
then we have a
Okay.
committee
I'm
meeting.
gone all next week out of town, but I don't
So
have to
the
be here.
22nd through the 26th? How about the 22nd?
Well, I can't do it because I have a children's concert that night. But
Our,
Oh, yeah.
our next council
yeah, we
meeting's
got a
the 15th.
concert on the 22nd.
Now, what was wrong with the 15th or the 20th?
People are gonna be gone.
Food too, huh?
Oh,
who's gone? Oh, Dawn?
I'm on the 8th to the 11th, I'll get back in on late.
That's when I'm gone.
well, we could do it Friday the 12th.
No?
No, we're not
We
doing
could
it
do
on
it the week of the
Friday. Are you
15th.
mind?
You have a committee meeting, on the 12th.
Monday's the best day.
How about the 29th?
29th it is.
29th is
I'll be
good for
gone.
me.
All in favor?
Where are you gonna be?
I'm going to Michigan. My mother's birthday's at.
We can put you on the teleprompter.
Yeah, that's what I do
We
when
could
I'm
put you on a
at
screen.
Okay, we'll do it for the 29th.
Instead of saying Don Stevenson,
And then
it'll
maybe you
say John
can-
Butts.
Yeah.
Give us all your info that you have gathered, or you can be on the big screen.
That big screen. Wave it.
Let's put your picture up there.
Or on the phone.
In a living
Okay, on the
color.
29th, budget workshop at what
Yeah.
time?
I like the 5
I
o'clock.
do too.
You're gonna send out an invite, right?
What time? 5 o'clock?
Yeah,
Those
and
invites
you're
are
in
handy.
Michigan, so that'll be 6 o'clock. 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
7
That's
o'clock.
still,
It's 7?
I'll still be up.
Yeah. Okay.
Why are we doing it at 5?
We are. He's
Oh.
gonna be at 7 o'clock.
You
We're
poor
at
devil.
5. He's at 7.
Them time changes are terrible, aren't they?
I hate it when that
I'll tell you
Okay,
how the
so-
ball game goes because I have